Boys, not a good weekend for injuries, that's for sure. Some huge names in the rugby league going down. Tommy Turbo, Nathan Cleary, Sean Johnson, just to name a few. But over in the AFL, the Swans are outright first, and the Roos just keep on kangarooing. They're still winless. Cricket, Travis Head has been dominant in the IPL. Jimmy Anderson announces his retirement from Test cricket. NBA Conference Semifinals have been fire, and Nikola Jokic wins his third MVP. The equation is simple in the EPL. Man City win their last 3 games. They're champs again. Plus a final round featuring UFC 301, boxing, and some general dribble. This is On The Esky, an Aussie sports podcast. We like our Aussie sports. We like our US and world sports. We do have timestamps on YouTube. You can skip to the sports that you like, or you can watch the whole damn thing and check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and the like. We like to start off this show by shouting a beer. Shauno, who you got?
Well, I wanted to shout out Tom Brady and The Roast, essentially. So if you haven't checked out The Roast on Netflix, it's worth a watch. It's quite funny. But I thought it was quite interesting to follow on my shout out beer on the story I want to talk about. The rumours / reports of a potential Brady and Peyton Manning competition. Because you have to ask yourself, why is Tom Brady doing a roast? Like, what's the point of this? Besides chasing the money.
That's what I would have said.
Yeah. So if it's all about the money, and this competition seems like who could be the first majority owner of an NFL franchise. Tom has to make up a little bit of ground because Manning and his Omaha Productions is printing money at the moment. And then, of course, supported with his brothers over there, the Manning brothers, they're making fat cash. They, of course, had played long careers, made hundreds of millions of dollars through their careers in endorsements. Brady has the announcing gig coming up. So, they're probably each had several hundred millions of dollars into their name. It's a far cry away from multi-billions of dollars to one, buy a franchise, and 2, look after it. But it seems like that is the competition. It looks like Brady, I think it was early reported in about February that Mark Davis was happy to make him a minor owner of the Raiders, as in buy a small stake of that, kind of like, say, Lewis Hamilton did for Denver, for the Broncos. Or like how all the celebrities,
Mahomes, Rodgers, etc. in there, not in the NFL, but for basketball,
for other things.
baseball.
But like I think the Williams sisters bought into Miami. There's a lot of people that bought into Miami. The Dolphins. So, I think they want to be, because I don't think any player has retired and then gone on to be able to buy a franchise in the NFL. So they'd be the first. So it seems like which one of them, these guys competed. Manning might have more MVPs. Brady had more Super Bowls.
We're doing
had more records.
Doing a goat argument, are we?
yeah. So it was like, well, fine, fuck it. We'll keep going. Let's see who can be the first owner of a franchise. So there's a lot happening in that space, and it seems like they're still chasing all the coin they can to potentially win that goal. So I think it's pretty funny. The two of them are pretty close, and they have a long history, of course, and they can. I guess it's the kind of thing that keeps them going. Yeah, the competition.
What's
now
next?
It's off the field. Yeah, exactly. So
what do you think of the race?
Oh, I thought it was excellent. All the various things I've seen has been very, very funny. But like I said, it was kind of an odd choice of a person to pick. But I think, with his kind of clout and the spread of friends that he has, I thought it ended up really well.
I've only watched the first half so far. Tell you what, Nikki Glaser, she goes hard in the paint, that's for sure.
Very funny.
He takes a few of them on the chin, and then there's a couple that he's kind of like, oh, fuck. I didn't know if we were signing up for this.
He's like, geez, maybe I needed a few more zeros on there.
Oh, bro, nothing off limits. Divorce jokes, Aaron Hernandez jokes. Check it out on Netflix if you haven't already. Very funny. And a bit of a who's who in terms of, celebrities and people in the sports realm.
Yeah, sport and comedy, definitely.
Yeah, good fun watch from what I've seen so far. I'll be interested to see what the back half it goes for 3 hours as well. That's why I haven't watched the whole thing. I've only seen the first 90 minutes. Anything there that you had there, mate?
Just Tom Brady is a film director. He is best known for directing and co-writing the fantasy comedy Hot Chicks.
Good movie. Rob Schneider, the hot chick. This is
different Tom Brady. Yeah,
I did see that. I was like, oh, he's in the film directing game. I was like, I think he was pretty much a rookie in the NFL when the movie came out. So different Tom Brady's.
Different Tom Brady.
What about you, Peppy?
Mate, I'm going to shout a beer or several beers to the mighty Dargans. The funny photo. Well, it was close to a mop, but what we're talking about is the St George Illawarra Dragons had a almighty blunder with the jersey that they printed last week for Jack Bird's 150th.
Dragons and jersey issues?
Yeah, well, it was misspelled and it read Dargans, D-A-R-G-O-N-S. That did the rounds. KO got on board, said the Dargans were playing South. And then people fucking got around it. There was Dargan signs up there at Netstrata Jubilee.
It's just like the Crom, bro. It's going to stick.
It's going to stick. It might stick. They went out and they won a game where they were favourites, and that rarely happens as a Dargans fan, lifelong Dargans fan right here. And look, boys, we spoke about it at the start of the year, and we've spoken about it, in years past, where they're always predicted to be around the spoon or bottom sort of 2, 3. They're sitting in an almighty 10th at the moment, and they
gentleman's 10th.
Well, they missed out on Magic Round. That's how marketable the Dargans are at the moment. So they get the 2 points next week, and I think they play the Bulldogs the week after. So there's a good chance that in a few weeks' time they're there or thereabouts for the top 8. Ben Hunt went through the ringer last season. He was out the door by all reports halfway through the year. He's been okay, but there's been some other guys that have really stepped up. Zach Lomax has been very good. Jaden Sewer's playing out of his skin. Jack DeBellin, a good resurgence for him. So a little bit there for the Dargans faithful. Now, next year with Lomax out the door and Ben Hunt possibly go after him as well, it might be a bit of a shit show. But
rumours of Wayne going to Souths and wanting to poach old players. So.
Yeah, so look, we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. As a lifelong Dargans fan, I've been quite happy with the first 10 weeks and the way that it's played out.
It's better than comparing yourselves to, say, where Souths are at the moment.
We'll definitely get to that when we talk footy. And they've won the same amount of games as what they won last year. In fact, they might be. I think they're on par. On par with what they won all last year. So good time to be a Dargans fan. Let's keep misspelling the commemorative jerseys, boys.
Keep this rolling.
100%.
Yep.
Monks, what do you got?
Yep. After 110 entries in F1, Lando Norris has won his first GP. So I am shouting Lando Norris a beer this week for winning the Miami GP last weekend. He won it beating Max Verstappen, who
has been dominant.
Who's been very dominant this season. Was lucky enough that he had a great strategy. Safety car came out during the race, which led him pit when he needed to pit, and he sort of just led the race from there. After the race, I think the commentator was asking Max Verstappen if the safety car hadn't come out, would Lando had still won the race? And Max Verstappen's response was, if my mum had balls, she'd be my dad. So.
That's an exact quote.
So they're not quite exact. Your mum's your dad. It's pretty. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah, these are all hypotheticals.
So these blokes making 10, 15, $20 million a year, and they're busting out your mum's your dad chat.
Pretty much.
Like it. Happy Mother's Day to
good chat
out there.
Yeah. Beer or the mothers out there? Oh no, there's too many.
So how many seasons has Lando been racing for? That's 5 seasons?
That's a good question. His first entry was 2019, so that'd be about 5 seasons.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the longest. I think Sergio Perez had the longest at 195 races.
Jesus,
before he won one. So
that's like 10.
Yeah. It's definitely hard to do.
You either win one or you don't, really, as well. And
I think with his win, I think 13 of the 20 runners have won GP. So there's 7 on the current grid. Probably most of the rookies and the young fellas that haven't won one there. But Lando was the longest of, say, that streak that came in recently with Albon, George, and himself. So
that's it. And then a sneaky little side shout out beer to Danny Rick. He qualified 4th in the sprint race and then ended up 4th in the sprint race.
Held on to
his highest finish.
Not bad.
Which is pretty good in that car.
In any race, yeah.
Needed some desperately needed points for Danny Rick. He's been struggling of late.
Needs to show performance to keep that seat in the RB.
And we're not talking F1 at the end of the show, so let's have a quick look now. Is Max still leaps and bounds ahead of everyone?
Dominant, and are they in Italy?
Yes.
When's that? Is that this week or next week?
Emilia-Romagna is, this weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. And I did see, I think Brad Pitt's F1 movie that's coming out. He just gone over $300 million for budget, and supposedly it's up there for one of the most expensive movies, if not the most expensive movie of all time. So,
Yeah, right.
so hopefully it's good.
That's
They got pit stop.
Well, that's not bad. That's
Yeah. I want to talk to Brad Pitt of Pit Stops.
I need to.
People.
Yeah.
They did filming, of course, during last season using the drivers essentially using one of their GPs. They filmed while they were.
Yeah, I think it was Silverstone.
Silverstone, yeah, that's right.
They used
right.
practice to film some fake races.
Yeah, on track footage, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's be interesting to see if it ends up being any good.
Yep.
I think if Brad's got his name
the
tied to
money
it,
on it,
hopefully,
yeah,
and they spent the money, it'd be good. But it's a bit hard to sell to casuals motor racing. So let's see how that
Well,
plays out.
they're pushing very hard with the marketing at the moment. Like
Well, I
everything
think
they've been
that-
doing.
Yeah.
Drive to Survive.
The Drive to Survive, I think Ferrari versus Ford was a really successful movie, and then what was the other one that was recent?
They had Rush with Chris Hemsworth.
Yes,
in it.
that one did pretty well, and that's probably what I'm thinking of. There was another one.
There was another one.
But the motor racing movies of late have been pretty good.
And just heading into the US market as well. It's been massive for that
Oh,
sport.
definitely.
Yep.
Pit Stop coming to a cinema near you. First rule of Pit Stop: we don't talk about Pit Stop. Have we got a mop of the week? This is revisiting.
I think this
an
is
old
3 in a
mop.
row for old Rice, unfortunately.
Rushy Rice, unfortunately,
looking
in the
good.
headlines for the wrong reasons again. Sean, you get the story?
Yeah, I think during the week, I couldn't find exactly what the event was, but he's had a run-in with a photographer. Then he's managed to get the photographer's details, and he's messaged him. The photographer's come back to whatever venue they're at, and then he proceeded to punch him in the face, essentially. So I think he's had an assault charge thrown his way. So it's going from bad to worse. Then there was some reports that came out that was, I think, done by NBC. That leading up to the draft, for his draft out of SMU, the reports it was either him or someone he knew within his vehicle shot at another one, essentially over a girl while they're in college. So, which might have led to some of the reasons why he got picked a little bit later.
Yeah, draft stock fell a little.
Yeah. Some of those stories are very reminiscent of Aaron Hernandez, so hopefully he's not on his villain arc at the moment, and he can right the ship a little bit. But yeah, it's not looking good for already facing. They seem to thinking half a season was what he was going to miss, is what Kansas was expecting. But yeah, he could be on that indefinite suspended list.
Yeah.
Until they get some answers out of all this stuff before they proceed to progress any further.
Monk's got the story there, or most recent. So he's already facing 8 felony charges for the high-speed
Crash, yep.
crash, which was, not even 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago,
Yeah.
call it?
Within the month, yeah.
Yeah,
He's having a bad off
Yeah,
season.
a month. And then probably getting badgered by the paparazzi, as you'd imagine. And then he's allegedly hit a bloke in the face, and, we'll get an assault charge to go with it. So for Chiefs fans, and they've drafted Xavier Worthy a couple of weeks ago for fantasy.
Traded
owners.
up for him, so
Yeah,
they may have seen the writing on the wall for
Rashid
us.
Ross,
Yeah.
which is a shame because he looked like he was, the next wide receiver one over there, catching the ball from the best quarterback in the league at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Watch this space. We'll see what happens with Rashid Rice, but he's got a few more charges to contend with moving forward. Mm-hmm. All right, boys. It's been a hot minute since we've talked some rugby league. Let's do it. The big story, of this weekend is the injuries.
injuries.
So Thursday night,
The old hamstrings.
Yeah, the first big one played out. The Dolphins did get a win against Manly, 30-24 up there at Suncorp. And Tommy Turbo, unfortunately, he's set to miss 7 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yep. Which is, unfortunate. He did he finish last year with a bad hammy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
and it was the year before. He also played like nothing because of hamstrings.
Well, this is his sixth hammy in his career, so 3 each side. This is the same one. It's a right hamstring that was bothering him last year. But outside of soft tissue, and he's had the groin in the past, had that pec tear in Origin, he's had a shoulder dislocation, an MCL. Like the last 4 or 5 years, he's either been a Dally M fullback or been on the sidelines.
Yeah, he's the best fullback in the league when healthy, and but he's been missing so many.
Well, and the
games,
fact in 2021 he won the Dally M when he played 18 games. Like,
Mental.
obviously a freak athlete when he's healthy, but it's a real cloud over his career, and hasn't been able to play out a full season now for 5 seasons. So, you know, as a Blues fan, you think, oh, geez, that's a big hole. You know, probably playing as a centre from an Origin perspective.
Especially with Latrell kind of out of form and just coming back from his suspension.
100%.
And the way Souths are playing, you're like, fuck.
You're concerned there as a Blues fan. But then these Manly fans, we've spoken about it on the podcast before, the way they perform when he's in the side compared to when he's out of the side.
They need the turbos.
Mate, it's night and day. So not good news for Tommy Turbo and everyone involved in previous hammy rehabs and soft tissue rehabs. And for Blues fans, unlikely that he plays in the series at all. Maybe he's back for game 3.
Yep. Yeah. Which, is going to be tough because they probably want to be gentle with him as well. So, I think more than likely they're not going to rush him back for game 3, even if he is fit for that. I think they'll see what other options are available. Which we'll talk about it in a little bit, but there's plenty of talk about what options are available at this point.
Yeah, some pretty major injuries, especially on the Blues side of the border.
I just want to say, so Dolphins did win this game. Are they second at the moment currently in the ladder? They were first for a while, and the Sharkies have taken that
with
over.
Melbourne losing last night, I think Melbourne still should be. No, I think Penrith have jumped into second actually.
Okay.
So I think the Dolphins are top 4.
Yeah, they've been pretty good. And I think you note there we got Fuller's been playing really good for the.
Well, Wayne Bennett's going to have some decisions to make.
Yeah, because Hammer is coming back from his hamstring.
Yep.
Did play Origin and was almost the best fullback in the league last year at points. He was very dominant for playing for the Dolphins and scored a shitload of tries.
Well, I think that number 1 jersey is probably Hammer's, but the way that Fuller's played, he doesn't really warrant being dropping. So does he grab a 14? He's probably too small to play in the centres.
Yeah.
Maybe
wing, maybe, but then
maybe it is just thanks.
Sarko's still been. You're not going to take his spot, so
maybe I don't know. Maybe chuck him on the other wing. Yeah. I don't know because that Jack Bostock's been really good too. So you look at their the Dolphins 1 through 5, and with Hammer coming back into the side, it may just be a thanks for the work that you've put in over the last month, and back to Queensland Cup you go. But he's been really good, and he's 5'8", like he's an undersized guy in today's league. Obviously, very good in the open field, kind of Matt Bowen vibes about.
Yeah,
him.
well, he scored that chip and chase try, didn't he? So
unreal, dude.
Yeah, and I've seen the videos of people like putting the Billy Slater commentary over the top of it, and you get the same sort of vibes of he's smaller fullback running through and just blitzing past everyone and scoring tries.
That's a lofty comparison, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely to a potential future immortal in Billy Slater. So I think he's definitely doing the job for him. But like you say, the size is the issue, and whether he could be an explosive utility.
Yep.
That a lot of teams don't really go for an undersized explosive utility these days. So.
At all, really.
Yeah, because they probably want a guy that can play 6 through all the second row as well. So
which he obviously can't do. So
yeah, exactly.
It's going to be interesting to see Tuesday when the team's coming out. Or he may have another week. They might not rush the Hammer, but he's due. He's due around about now.
Yeah.
Where are the Dolphins third?
No, they're fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah,
Okay.
fourth on the ladder.
So Melbourne and Penrith still above them.
Yep.
So speaking of which,
good little.
Penrith get by the Doggies in a pretty close one. The Bulldogs have been better this season, I thought, but they're still losing close games. I think they're not getting blown out, but they're losing close games.
Yeah, they don't have that winning sort of feel about them just yet. Interesting game in terms of who lines up for the Dogs these days. So obviously Critter coming across in his first year, Jamin Salmon joining as well from Penrith, and then Burton and Kickow in years past. So there's 4 guys in the starting 13 there that are playing against their old club.
Yeah, the Canterbury Panthers. So
but Gaskell pretty deliberate in the way that he's recruited. 16-10 maybe a little closer suggests that it was closer than it was. Penrith looked okay, but the big story is,
I think losing
Cleary hammy.
Yeah, Nathan Cleary maybe turned this game a little bit and lost their rudder essentially. Did re-injure his hamstring. He had been out for, did he miss?
1 week before, played the week before,
yep.
and then had missed 2 maybe before then.
2? I was feeling like more like 4, but I could be wrong. But
Grab Cleary's run.
Yeah, he's been struggling, of course, with his hamstring, but it's come back that he's seriously injured, done a grade 2 strain, and will miss 8 weeks and essentially rule him out of the origin period. I think that even if he was ready for game 3, I don't think they'll rush him back. Penrith will be like, no, we want him healthy for us.
Yeah, but I don't know how that's going to work, because if it's tied up at one apiece, I think Madge and the Blues people will be saying, no, we need Cleary, we need Turbo. Yeah. So there might be a little tug of war with the selectors and how it's all played out. But don't worry, the Blues will be 2-0 up anyway. We don't have to worry about it.
Well, I guess that kind of leads into that question. Who do you think is going to be playing in the halves for New South Wales? Because Hines pulled up a little bit late. By all accounts, he'll be right in a week.
Yeah, 11th hour, he's scratching.
Yeah, but, he's dealing with an injury. Moses is done. He's not going to be playing in the Origin series. And then Adam Reynolds, who's another name in there, has ruptured his bicep. He's 10. Then you kind of think, well, you rule out Cody Walker from South. So you're looking at maybe Luai's, do you bring him back as your 6? Or is there someone like Burton maybe get a run? But then who plays 7? So
you're ruling out Walker based on the fact that the Souths are dead last? And
what's their form like? I'm happy if you guys want to pick him.
As a
Queenslander. I think if Nico's healthy, he should be 7. Get a bit of redemption story there.
Yeah.
And then for 6, it's got to be Luai. I don't think Luai. He's been playing well enough for Penrith. But then again, he hasn't been blowing the doors off the hinges. But he's the mainstay. But new coach. Do they want to change things up? All those things will come into the conversation.
I think Nico Hines has to wear the 7.
If healthy?
Well, I don't know if there's heaps of ifs, unless he's to re-aggravate. He was pretty staunch in the way that he spoke to the media last night, saying it.
Sharks are 1, so...
Yeah, and they won without him, which we'll get to in a second. He was pretty much like, I'm going to be good to go. Unfortunate about Nathan, but I should be fine. I think based on form, I think Nico Hines should be wearing the 7, given this new development with Nathan being hurt the other night.
If no Nico, what's left?
Jeez, really starting to...
This is where the Luke Brooks meme comes into it. So.
Yeah, that's right. The Stephen Bradbury, everyone else is tripping up over their own skates, and Luke Brooks comes and plays an Origin game. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Hines should be ready. Let's say, for argument's sake, that Hines isn't ready. Yep. Yeah, is Burton playing 6 and Luke Brooks is playing 7, where he's been playing as a 5'8". I think Luai would be kind of like, hey, all right, Nathan's not there, but I'm the incumbent.
Yeah,
other than one game last year.
There's not a lot of options. I think Chad Townsend was another one, but then Cowboys haven't been doing.
Well, they've lost 4 in a row. 5 in a row.
Form. Yeah, the form doesn't look good. Same kind of questions with Cody Walker. Like he's there, he's available. Do you want Jack Whiten to go back to 6, but again, South
no.
The Spooners, so kind of rules them out. You'd probably want someone from the top 8 squads to be filling in your lineup. So, it's dire straight. So, use New South Wales fans. Nico Hines, bubble wrap, please.
Please, please. And Sharks don't rush him back. Obviously, they don't need to. He's, they're running first and can win games in Melbourne without him. For mine, devil's advocate, or just in this realm where Nico's not good to go, I'll say Burton and Brooks, which I never thought I'd be fucking saying. That's no knock on those blokes. Burton's played a bit of Origin.
But we're talking 5th string at this point anyway.
That's right. And
Brooks, it's a rough season.
It's been a good signing for Manly. He's been playing lights out so far.
How far away are we from game 1? Is it the first week in June?
First week in June with 3. So the squad gets announced next Sunday. Is that right? Or am I
let him chase, or is it the following week?
What are we now? We're 12.
Because we're 3 weeks 19.
Out. No, we're two Sundays. We're 2 Sundays from a squad. So a lot can change in that time.
We saw this week that half the league gets wiped out from hamstring. So
and whilst we're on it, so Turbo, obviously out.
Yep.
Latrell's form is going to be like, show us what you can do in the next 2 weeks. Bradman Best, I think, was excellent in the Knights game.
Yep.
I think him and Critter might be putting their hands up for centres positions.
And I think maybe do Stags as like a...
Stags has to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
Lomax has to be in the conversation, the way that he's been playing.
Yeah, to put him on the wing.
Could play on the sting. Does Josh Addo-Carr, is he in danger? Has been good when he's played, but
he's also been hurt too.
Missed times with missed games with the AC.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's and then all the rhetoric is Dylan Edwards going to wear the one, but I think they'll go with the incumbent as provided
Teddy's
Teddy's
the captain.
Yeah, I think Teddy's fine. Do you then throw Dylan Edwards on a wing? The way that he's been playing.
Yeah, but I just don't think he's a winger. That's the thing.
I agree.
He has to be a one.
I think he's the Stuart McGill of the New South Wales Blues at the moment.
Yep.
But yeah, for mine, I think Teddy has to wear one, and then I think Critter, probably based on the way that he played last year and how talented he is one of the centres.
You didn't even mention Toto.
Toto's probably one winger. Then if we're talking about the other winger, is it JAC that's in trouble if Lomax was to push his way in? I don't think so. I think it's Toto and JAC probably on the stings and Critter and Best in the centres. You've got a predicted team there where Burton's predicted to play in the centres.
I don't see Moses.
Well, yeah. So this must be a few weeks old because Mitch Moses is in there. There's a chance that Moses could be back. That's from today, 12th. Yeah, that's from today. So, do you play Mitch Moses if you've got
no form with one leg
with one game under?
I'd be quite happy if you did. I think Appy probably over Cook at this point as well. So
agreed. Robson as well is probably going to be in the conversation. I think Olakuatu has to be in there. He's been banging the door down.
Yep.
Angus Crichton's had a revival of his career.
And he's probably going to get booted as well with Fafita coming in. So
that's
for the Roosters. I mean,
we'll get to that in a second. You look at that team. I think the only, and Cameron Murray got hurt last week. I think the only positions where you say this bloke will be wearing this jersey. I think Isaiah Yeo's probably a lock with 13 on his back. I think
Toto with 2,
Payne Haas with 8. There's not many where you go, this is who's going to be wearing that jersey, which makes the next month really interesting, or the next 2 weeks, even before the team gets named, really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough 2 weeks, that's for sure.
So Mitch Moses is expected to be back by round 12. So put him
the week after next.
And that
he'd have one game leading into game 1.
Yeah. Game 1's on the 5th of June.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely rushing him back.
Who'd want to be a coach, or a selector?
No.
Quickly through the other games, Brisbane looked pretty good against Para. Clint Gutherson has been hurt since we last potted, so had a little clean out of his knee. Blaze Talangi been wearing the one jersey. Pretty banged up, the Eels.
Yeah, I think the Eels are also struggling to retain talent as well. Rumours about Arthur's on the outer as well. They had a few chats with Wayne and that went nowhere essentially. But they've the young halfback, which was probably not going to get a go there with Moses there, signed with Canberra, so they lost him. They lost out on a couple other players, I think, and there's guys looking to get out essentially. So some of their talents looking to move on. Essentially, looking like their windows, they missed it, and the team's going to have a bit of a rebuild.
Mate, they got the form outside back in the league coming across next year. Lomax put them on there. No, you're right. It's hard to make a grand final, and you get blown out of the water in the first 25 minutes by Penrith. Sometimes that is your window.
Yep. That's all you get. And Brisbane looked pretty good in this, missing Reynolds, of course, but they kind of righted the ship, and just when you give Ezra Mann and Reece Walsh enough space, they'll kill you from anywhere.
When do you think Ezra Mann's going to enter the conversation as one of the best 5'8" in the league?
Oh, is
he already there?
I think talent-wise, you can see the trajectory, and maybe a year or two. If they won the grand final there last year, then I think we would.
You'd be already talking about it.
But the masterclass from Nathan Cleary kind of changed that conversation a little bit. But you can see the talent level. I think at the moment he still kind of needs that controlling halfback, that veteran guy like Adam Reynolds. They fit perfectly together. So it would be interesting to see what that looks like going forward with Reynolds getting a little bit older, and also with the injuries for him, because he did his pec, of course, with we just mentioned ruptured pec, so he's going to miss the rest of the year, which is going to be tough for them. But I was trying to work out as well whether Ezra would feed is a Queenslander, but my understanding he's actually, I think he's Papua New Guinean, so. But they're tier 2, so technically I think if he's gone through the season, he'd be eligible for Queensland. So unlikely to play 6 as long as Munster's healthy, but you might find a role there.
It's interesting because Ponga will obviously miss, and you'd think Reece Walsh has got the one on his back.
You'd think 14's Ben Hunt, but
so there's probably no room for him at the moment.
I think he'd be in the 20, but
he could be an 18.
Yeah, but for
get
game
some experience.
Game 1, I don't think he'll get there. But
agreed.
Munster himself's also been dealing with recurring injuries, so hopefully he stays healthy leading into the Origin period too.
Don't need to suck them off too much more, but the Dragons had a win against South yesterday, 28-14, in pretty wet conditions there at Netstrata Jubilee. Let's talk about Latrell Mitchell. 3-game suspension. JD has been sacked since we last potted, obviously.
First coach gone.
Alluding to it.
Haven't won a game since that, so maybe the coaching wasn't the issue. Is the one question.
What is it on paper? They should be a good team.
They should be such a...
Well, look, there's one caveat. Half the team's fucking out.
Yeah, they're pretty banged up too, so yeah.
Like, the fact that Latrell comes in, it's pretty hard to fill everyone's boots. And if you wouldn't mind having a look at the injury list for South, it's extensive. But yeah, maybe JD wasn't the problem, and by all accounts, obviously not well versed in being an NRL coach, but very likeable. Apparently, a lot of the
players coach.
Apparently, a lot of the players got along with him. There's some speculation out there with a few podcasts and whatnot. But mate, with the Titans winning this weekend, they're dead last. And
I think they're spoon favourites. So they really need something to go their way to kind of right that ship. So I think is it Hornby? Hornby's the
so former Dragon.
For Dragon, getting a go there. But I think that all the talks about Wayne, can we get Wayne to come down to keep coaching him? Sounds like Wayne's pretty keen, essentially to make all the hard decisions and to get the best out of the squad.
That seems like it's essentially a done deal.
Well, the way Hornby was talking, it was like he'd already had the job, like
caretaker.
In the press conference after the first game, it was just like, he took my job before I even had it. So, which everyone was just like, so he's actually pen to paper kind of thing. Well, is it done deal? But I think it's pretty much done deal because they want someone to come and make the hard decisions. One of them being is Latrell fullback. I feel like no. I think he's kind of proved that he's attacking wise. Yes, he's a very good fullback, but all the other stuff that makes up like the defensive aspect and the amount of work rate in the back, he just seems to be lacking. And I think that's been pointed out for many seasons.
He looked ordinary last night, and he got found out. And the weather plays into it a little bit, sure, but some of those defensive decisions weren't the best, and he just looked gassed as well. So,
he had a bit of a layoff, but
3 weeks off, but I don't know if
hit the treadmill.
He's had 3 weeks to hit the treadmill.
Yeah,
I think we've talked about it before. Like, I think there's got to be something to do with the culture of the club. Like the fact that these guys, like defensively, don't play great.
Conceded 28 points in 8 out of 9 games.
Yeah.
And they brought in Ferner as well to be their defensive coach essentially before they sacked JD, and that really hasn't helped. I think they've just been cuddled too much for too long. And again, that's why they're going the drastic change. All accounts to get Wayne in there to give them the tough love.
Yeah. And the caveat, Monk's has got the injury list there.
Yes. Long.
It's extensive. Tyrone Munro, Jacob Gagai, Alex Johnston, Jacob Host, Cameron Murray, that's huge. Jai Gray, poor fellow, who looked okay playing with the one on his back. Campbell Graham's been out all year. Tavita Totola. Hawkins, Ilias, they had to go with a debutant at 7. It's pretty hard to win in the NRL, especially when you've got a bloke that's debuting at 7, even if he's running around with Mitchell and Walker.
Yeah.
Mate, it doesn't look good for South fans. at the moment.
LB with White and took a pay cut to win a spoon is actually quite fun. But he gets to play with his mate, so
There's been like a few Whiten fan memes. I'm sure there's some Whiten fans, but it's strange, isn't it? Because we thought.
Well, you wouldn't expect
Well,
that.
at the start of the season.
Well, we were saying they had to play finals, otherwise it's a massive miss.
If you remember at the start of the season, and we weren't, much different to the way that all the pundits and everyone had predicted. We thought, wow, it's going to be a hard year for Canberra. They lose Jack Whiten. They've got unproven guys coming in there hard.
Going with the young talent.
They're going to have Ethan Strange and KO Weeks having to come in and
season,
step up. And they've fucking been really good, the young blokes. And then you've got this star-studded South team, and you add Jack Whiten to
the
it.
list is good, but
They've just been dreadful. Yeah. Look, I think when you're that banged up, at least you've got the argument. Hey, like we're missing half our starting 13.
But they did also lose 10 games the end of last year, and then
that's
haven't started this year.
Well, the problem's been 12 months plus, hasn't it? It hasn't been since the start of March.
Yeah, when did they move to that new?
The facility's good. Well,
back to Redfern, bro.
Well, it's in Eastern Suburbs territory, so maybe it's some bad juju.
Maybe
it's bad juju Smith-Schuster from moving over to East Territory. Mate, I don't know, but they looked ordinary, and I'm a one-eyed, Red V fan watching it. I didn't think the Dragons were electric. Last night I thought they played okay to go out and win a game, and the scoreline is flattering for South because they got a late one anyway. So you 28-10 it could have been from a Dragons team, which is a
that's it. Yeah, I mean to your
middle
point,
of the pack.
The first thing I said to you guys in the chat was like, how bad are Souths and like how good are the Dragons? Like Souths are not playing where they should be playing.
No, the first half, like Dragons could have scored 2 or 3 more tries in that first half. The way they were playing, it's not a good time to be a Bunnies fan. That's for sure.
Not at all. No.
Good time to be a Sharks fan.
Move the shot.
Anyway,
trying to figure out how we'd transition to that
Sharks
one.
last night. I went Melbourne.
Melbourne. I think it's always hard to go past. So
14 games in a row they won.
So I think I picked Melbourne.
I went Melbourne, and then when Hines went out, I thought, "Fuck." I think
Bet the house on it. Yeah, but the Sharkies I think are for real. They've lost that can't beat.
Well, that's the question. When do we say they're for real?
Like, well, they couldn't beat anyone with a winning record last year, and I think they've maybe addressed some of their defensive woes and. Because they could score really well. I think they're playing a much more complete football this year. And, whether it's because, what's his name, Cameron? McInnes.
Yeah, McInnes.
McInnes. His work rate and tackling ability, is that kind of extra grit.
I don't know if that helps you that much in attack.
I mean like in the defensive side of it. So improve them like more as a complete team is what I'm getting at. So I think they're defensively a lot better this year. And big kudos to him, and he'll probably get an origin spot, I think, with the amount of work he's getting through. So I think that's really helped them, and that's really sets the scene that they don't have to chase a lot of points, and they've still got all that talent to score a lot of points, irrespective of Nico's playing. So I think they're pretty good, and they're beating top teams. I think that's the other thing. They're beating the teams that are in front of them and not getting hammered by the better teams.
Yep. Yeah, and I agree. I think this weekend, for my mind, was the turning point because we've seen it in the past few weeks. Yet they run up some cricket scores against Cowboys, against the Raiders, and I was like, I've seen this before. That's it doesn't mean much. You can go down to Melbourne and beat Melbourne without Nico Hines. Yeah, I think it's time to start getting excited. People in the Shire, I would think they're outright first, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting and seeing as well if Nico does wear the 7 during Origin, how they go through that period. But they certainly can run up a few points on the attacking side of the ball, and if you can go down there and beat Melbourne down there, I think maybe they are the real deal.
Yeah, I think Bellameli was probably blown up at this moment, and he did re-sign for an extra year, so he will stay with the Storm for another season. But the Harry Grant sin binning, which I think ended up being a bit of a pivotal moment in this, because I think they were coming back in this game a little bit, and then this kind of killed their momentum in the arse. Gets sin bin for a very minor contact on the kicking leg of the kicker, and I guess all the talking points have been. I guess all the old heads were saying it's not a sin bin. Why is he sin bin? But there is this year they've been focusing more on trying to protect the kicker more so than recently. So what do we think of this moment? Harry Grant, of course, seemed very shocked that he was being sin-binned. Like, it's like, fine, fair, put me on a report, but I'm getting sat down for 10 minutes in a close, crucial game like this.
To be honest, I thought absolute fucking joke. I get it. You want to protect the kicker.
Yeah.
He barely there's barely contact.
Yeah.
And Harry
he hits him like he hits the knee, yes, but it's not like he's run through, and it's kind of like he's pulled up, and and the leg more follows through and hits him than he hit it. So yeah, there's not a lot in it,
bro. If Harry Grant was the ball and he's hitting the stumps, the bails didn't come off. That's what happened there. He grazes him, and Harry has a right to be surprised with the way that this turns out. Like, seriously, I get it. You want to protect the kicker. We saw what
don't want to hit the kicking leg.
And poor Lachlan Ilias is a good recent example playing in New South Wales Cup. Getting his leg cut in half, and that's what they're trying to stamp out. But case by case, and maybe the fact that Harry's not looking where he's running, he's looking back, and he's not really watching.
He has every opportunity to kind of like deviate.
Bro, Atkinson was fine. Like,
he doesn't hit the deck or anything.
He does.
He stumbles. Yeah, he doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah.
What would that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
What would that mechanism be? That would risk for MCL hitting it like that?
Oh,
like a grind.
If you're going to do a ligament,
there's risk for his skin getting a scratch.
With
that,
I
get it because
you're hitting the inside of the knee is what I'm getting at. So
and well, again, go back to Ilias. The concern is if he's
full tilt.
If he's full tilt and he's casual and he's another foot over to his right, you can break something.
And he's a little bit earlier as well, like he hits him in the follow through, not in the.
But it's got to be case by case. It's got to be case by case. This is one of the more perplexing things I've seen in a rugby league field, perhaps ever. And I agree as well. If you want to say, all right, well, let's slow it down and let's look at it, chuck him on report. Fine. You want to look at it on Monday? Let's do that. To sin bin him, he's well within his right to be gobsmacked.
Yeah,
mouth open, what the fuck kind of thing, because I don't think that's a sin binning in any world ever.
I just want to check. Let's have a quick look at that.
Bring in the chat about the 5 minute sin bin.
It shouldn't.
No.
No.
It's barely a penalty. So to sin bin a bloke, and you're right, like sort of pivotal sort of time in the game. Melbourne were up at that stage, and
and the Sharkies scored right after it. So.
It was at the 35th minute.
Yeah, and they scored on the
both
36th.
halves. Both, size of half as well.
But like you're saying, in front, but they go into half time tied up because the Sharks score straight after it. So big moment.
Thank you, LB, in the comments. Brad Schneider as well is worth mentioning. New South Wales Cup. He had a PCL injury, so the back middle ligament essentially, not as devastating as the ACL, but that's probably a couple months for poor Brad Schneider, and now Panthers have to go to their third string half. I get what the concern is. If you're being lazy and you make some incidental contact with someone who's in full tilt kicking, the consequences can be devastating.
Oh, definitely.
But in that particular instance,
bruise.
if that, and I think Harry was unlucky, and I think the Storm were unlucky.
Yeah.
Having said that, as a lifelong hater of the Storm,
they've won enough. They can never break.
Well, it's interesting as well with Hines going out. A lot of people had the C next to Hines for Supercoach fantasy purposes. My vice captain was Harry Grant. Yeah. So it cost me a fantasy. Your dogs. Interesting. I don't think he's going to have any case to answer for when he goes to judiciary.
He's got a pretty clean record as it is. So I think
and we've got to have a good hard look at the game if that's what a sin bin is these days.
Well, what happened? What was the Dolphins game where he gave him a love tap on the face?
Yeah.
There was that one as well during the week, which I think was a penalty, and they're like, that's not a penalty. He's kind of falling down and he's barely slapped him.
I don't know
but what's the forward's name? The guy that came up from the Dragons that's at the Dolphins now.
Josh Kerr?
Yeah, Josh Kerr. Yeah, I think he just slapped to the fullback essentially as he misdirected him. But, the same sort of thing. Yeah, they're protecting the kickers. They're protecting the head. Like, you're making contact with it. Yeah, you're putting it in the ref's hands to make a decision. And generally in the rugby league, they fuck it up. So
way too far the other way. I
Yeah,
think a massive overreaction. And obviously, we're big fans of the NFL. And it's the same thing for the punters. You know, they've got the.
Bro, the hip drop next year in the NFL is going to
That's going to give us something to talk about. So they've got running into the kicker and they've got roughing the kicker over there. So it's two separate penalties.
Yeah, like this maybe constituted a penalty.
Yeah, running. If you wanted to make it running into the kicker and you want to blow the whistle, okay, I think that.
And then
fine.
roughing the kicker, like you've tried to kill a man. Yeah, definitely sit him down for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was scratching my head.
Yeah. Rugby league and logic is not two things that happen together. So
Let's move on. We must move on.
Before we move on, didn't get a chance to talk about it the other week, but Ryan Pappenhausen is out again.
Yes.
Fracturing his ankle.
Yeah.
So I think same ankle.
Small fracture above the hardware, I believe. So
So
you just had the feeling, didn't you? When it happened, he was limping. It didn't look obviously as bad as when he first did it. There's a small.
He fucked it up. So
it was Nass landing on him, wasn't it? Yeah. Small fracture above the old fracture side, but the hardware is implicated. I don't think he's had surgery. I think he's just non-weight bearing for a little bit and see how he goes. Tell you what, we're talking about Turbo before. Fuck.
Real unlucky.
And I think because we haven't spoken about it since last pod with the Ponga Liz Frank, and Teddy's had his run with injuries as well. Having that one on your back, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
I think Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is also injured after playing a bit of one as well. I think the workload, I think is the main thing. Like the amount of defensive effort sideline, the amount of kilometres they put up, and then the high explosive stuff as well to be, you've run 10Ks, but also got to be in the moment, run 100 metres.
That's 100% what it is. You're exposed to these high velocity, explosive moments more so than anyone else on the pitch. Yep. You're not having to do the work of a middle forward or an edge back rower in terms of hit ups and tackles, but when you do, and you're trying to make a try saver, in the corner, or you're running back from a bomb, or you're trying to score yourself. Yeah, it's the explosivity of the position, and we're seeing it unfortunately. In recent times, tell you what, and shout out to Dylan Edwards as being able to run through a few premiership winning seasons without having any major injuries. But I
think there's a body type to it. Like you look at Dylan Edwards, Reece Walsh, those kind of guys. I think are the prototypical kind of size. Go back, Billy Slater, like that's. They might not a bit of the smaller guys may have more of the aerobic, not carrying all that mass maybe as well. I wouldn't say
Pappy's small.
Yeah, Pappy's small, but I think he's unlucky. He's a bit different compared to say.
I think it's a position. I think it's got nothing to do with your body size. I think it's just the amount of high explosive decisions that you've got to make. I think that probably plays into it. Yeah. It sucks. We're not even at Magic Round, and
week 10, bro. Week 10.
That many stars out at the moment. We did one a few pods ago with the injured 13. Fuck, at the moment it'll be.
You
got A and B.
Yeah, we made an Australian squad out of it. So
it'd be the best 13 ever at the moment. Just guys that come to mind.
Yeah, the list that James got in front of him is very long. So.
Well, that's club by club.
I
think it's superstars at the moment.
Yeah.
Pappy, Turbo, Cleary, Reynolds, Moses, Tino.
Payne Haas has been up and down.
Payne Haas only just come back.
Yeah.
Hammer.
Yep.
Fuck.
The list goes on.
It's wild. It's wild. Fingers crossed the middle part of the season is a bit kinder to our superstars.
Well, the origin
leading
period
into origin
is usually the tough period. So
there we go.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the Chooks hammering the Warriors today.
Yep. So Sean Johnson's the big story out of that. It looks like it's a pec strain, not a pec tear. Played through. Did he play 80 minutes or thereabouts?
They dragged him at the 63rd minute or something like that. Essentially when the game was out of hand. Yeah. But they obviously had serious conversations from all reports at halftime. But he kept playing. But the Roosters were smoking him by that point. I think the Warriors have had a bit of a rough run lately after starting the year pretty good.
Yep.
And the other side of that, the Roosters have been playing really well. Kind of finding finding their feet, finding their form. Did, of course, sign David Fafita. That was the big one. And now they talk about, do they have room for, say, Angus Crichton going forward? They lost out on Gagai, Dane, and then signed Daniel Tupou back up. So, keeping the veteran there on the wings. Yeah, there's a lot happening in the Roosters' land, and sombreros are going to sombrero, and they're back being good. I think Teddy being healthy has really helped. Luke Keary also announced he's going to retire, so maybe they're, one last dance for him. They're a bit.
And I think it's maybe for once it's a little unfair to give him the sombrero tag. I know that was my initial reaction, and then I thought about it, and I was like, well, Manu's going, and Suoli is going, and Kiri's retiring.
Yeah. So they've got coin. So.
Yeah, and Jared Warrior, Hargraves
going the Warriors.
Won't go. Yeah, so I think for once it kind of makes sense. For once, perhaps. And he took a pay cut to go.
Yes,
as well. Or he's taking a pay cut.
Well, that's a very Roosters thing though, as well.
That's right. Yeah.
To leave a bottom team in the Gold Coast who've been struggling, can't retain talent, and he just shows up at the Roosters on, what's that? Almost 200K less. So
yep.
Yeah, it's
good thing the Titans won today. The Cowboys have been pretty ordinary the last month. They fall under that same bracket as the Warriors. Just have really struggled over the last month of footy, and both given their list, probably a little disappointing from where you'd expect them to be.
Yeah, I think they're both happy that South's playing worse than they are.
Yeah, taking the heat off them. Pango Jr., what happened with him last night?
He had a boxing fight, and I don't know what card it was on, but he got knocked out in the first round about the 69th minute. I can't find any video of this. I've seen the pictures, though. But yeah, it's essentially, I think some of the Queensland clubs are looking at him. I think both Dolphins and Brisbane, whether they give him a role. But yeah, I think his boxing career is now going to take a back seat after being knocked out. And Kenny Nico, I think I've written there, was his opponent, and whether he can go back to football. And Titans might be looking for a second rower after what we just mentioned.
Bloke played Origin last year. We're 12 months removed from him being an Origin.
That's wild.
Forward, yeah. Well, I'm sure there'll be a door that opens up.
Oh, there you go.
The footage
you got some footage.
Here we go, Monks. The fastest.
Oh, that's fresh.
He's rocked
gets
there.
rocked.
Oh, my God, get in there.
Jeez.
Ref was way too slow.
Yeah, the ropes were holding him up.
So it's a TKO technically because he never goes down the ground, but he is up against the ropes. And
he's out of it though.
Yeah,
he's there, and here he's not defending himself. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.
Yeah.
There you go.
Definitely should have been stopped, but
Main event on the Brisbane Boxing Showcase. Okay.
Kenny Nico.
By his own boxing promotion. I think he might shut that down for a little bit.
Nico had lost all 3 of his professional fights before his win Saturday.
At that size, you land, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Derek Lewis later on winning his fight today, but the same thing.
My balls was hot.
If you get hit by a big guy, it could be lights out.
Good night.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Monks, you got the ladder there. Run us through what we're looking at. Sharks are outright first.
Sharks are outright first on 18 points. Panthers are up into second place with 16 with a win. Storm are down just on goal difference, for and against, difference there. Dolphins stay at number 4. To round out the top 8, we've got Roosters, Broncos, Raiders.
Had a hard-fought game against the bye this week. But otherwise, we've been playing pretty decent.
They're looking all right.
I think they'd be very happy with the young talent they've brought in. I don't think they're going to win the comp this year, but I think they've got something to build around going forward.
Well, given they lost Rapiner and Fogarty since our last pod, playing really good.
Yep.
And Manly 8th.
Manly 8th. I did want to point out, so the Bulldogs, they're sitting at 9th. Their for and against is only 19, with that one less win than Manly.
Compared to Knights who are minus 13 and Dragons who are minus 56, all on 10 points. So
yeah, that's it. But even looking at the Raiders, they're minus 14 and they're sitting in 7th. So, like you said, they're just losing very close games.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Dogs there are interesting. Haven't lost in their home games. They're 0-5 away. So if they learn to win a few of these away games, it could be a top 8 side.
Yep. Yeah, and if you go, I think South, I was looking at it there, negative 180. So
Yeah.
South 17, run us through from 12.
Yes, we have Knights, Dragons, 12, the Cowboys,
Yep.
and then we've got Eels, Warriors, Wests, Titans, and Rabbits.
Eels also coming under that sort of disappointing again injury plague, but Eels and Warriors sitting 13 14th, probably didn't expect that a few months ago.
No, that's it. Funnily enough, the Rabbits have shorter odds of winning the premiership than both the Titans and Tigers.
Yeah, we're talking about 501, 476, and 326 to 1.
Yeah.
But you are right. They're technically shorter.
they're not going to win the comp, but they're again, that list and that team,
Yeah.
they just need to get something right and they could go on a run and win 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll put them in, could put them in 8th. So with how long the season is, but yeah, they need to, if they're going to make a run, they're going to need to do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, very much so.
Maybe through the origin period, if none of their blokes are playing and they can get healthy, then yeah, they might be able to make a run.
See how they go up at the Festival Footy Magic Round, not far away at all.
That's right, yeah.
All right, let's talk some other footy. Nat. Jesus, heart attacks inducing on Thursday night. Carlton absolutely ran the top off the D's in the first quarter. It was 5 goals to zip. And then fourth quarter, you started to think, oh, we might have a game here. Oh, this is going to come down to it. Oh, shit, Melbourne's going to... That was my thinking. Like, oh, shit, Melbourne's going to win.
They're going to win. They're going to get us.
It was 22 points at three-quarter time. I think Carlton kicked the first in the fourth quarter, made it 28 points. And then just an absolute fight back from the D's and made it one of the more entertaining games of the year. A little bit greasy conditions, sort of drizzly throughout the whole game. And Sammy Walsh really putting his stamp on this one. I think he had 34 and a goal, including the first goal of the game where he gave us
the big flex.
Little flexaroo. What was our take on this one, boys?
I feel like it was a classic kind of Colton game.
It was Carlton of old would have lost this game.
Yeah, that is also very true. Like, yeah, the D's are quality squad. They're in the top 4 for a reason, and yeah, they were always gonna chase. And the Blues gave them kept them within touching distance, gave them enough chances. But I think they've definitely been better and managed to close this one out. But yeah, I think they will be happy that I don't think they didn't steal it. Maybe snuck away with it. So.
They definitely did steal it. Nearly bottled it. That's for sure. They looked like they were going to lose in the last few minutes, which is a little concerning. Managed to hold on. I think I saw a stat about the last 10 times these guys have played, and like 7 or 8 of them have been a goal or less. I'll see if I can find that one.
With the Blues mostly losing those?
Well, it's been a little turnaround since last year where Carlton beat them twice, I think, in close ones.
Getting some confidence.
Yeah. I've got it here. Carlton, Melbourne, recent matchups. All right, so 1 point, obviously, on Thursday night. They won by 2 points and 4 points last year in the semi-final and round 22. Melbourne, a lofty 17 points before that. Melbourne, 5 points. Melbourne, 26 points. Melbourne, 1. Melbourne, 5. So since 2019, there's only been a couple times they've played where it's gone more than 2 kicks.
What do you feel like the Blues? They think I just checked it. They're sitting inside the 8. They are 7th.
The only times they've lost have been to good sides in Collingwood and Geelong, with the caveat being, I suppose, the Crom. Although they've been
Crom have been up and down this year.
Yeah, and the fact that I think they lost that game a month ago. Like they had a run where they lost 3 out of 4, and you're like, oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah,
a few sort of kicks, and maybe it's a different story against Geelong and against Collingwood. A lot of people as well in the comments saying, "Oh, free kick Carlton," thinking that Carlton's getting the rub of the calls. I don't know. I'm a Blues fan, so I'm probably not saying it.
Yeah.
It's
all sweet. The umpires got it all right. It's all good.
I think they really, on paper, they should be a top 4 side. I think anything less than that is probably disappointing. But yeah, playing 4 quarters of footy and stringing it all together, as we see with most sides,
definitely
is proves to be
Yeah,
difficult.
I feel this year's a lot more open than recent seasons. Like, I don't think there's a team that's just out and out the most dominant.
You look
Like
at,
any weekend, someone can win.
Yep, 100%. And Sydney outright first, and we'll get to them in a second. Look pretty good against Freo.
Yep.
Yeah, and Geelong until 2 weeks ago, you'd maybe would say would be that little sort of sniff above anyone else. We've got to talk about your Bombers in a second.
Yep.
Anyone from that top 8, top 10 looks like they could possibly win a flag.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely the AFL's doing something right in a lot of these close contests, and the crowds that they've been getting as well has been incredible.
Crowds love it.
Port beat Geelong Friday night, 2 Friday night games. So for their first win at Cardinia Park since 2007. Big story running into it with Connor Rozee not being good to go. Similar to Cleary in the fact that he was questionable last
Bit of
week.
tightness?
Yep, they said, let's play. Didn't finish a game. Hammy misses in this one.
Yep.
Butters, Wines, and the Hornet all had a goal and all had 25 plus. Just absolutely dominated Geelong's midfield. Willie Rioli pretty good as well.
The young speed.
And a bit of a dampener on Tom Hawkins, who equalled Geelong's record, 355 games, will play for outright first next week.
Yep. What do you think of Port? I feel like last year kind of they, we know the start. They shot themselves in the foot before they could get the season going. But the list was good, and the list is still good. And, they've added young talent in the Hornet and Rioli, and I think they're playing about where we think they should be. And beating a quality side like Geelong in Geelong is very, very good.
Real deal, I would think. Yeah. They're 6th, and again, stringing it together week by week is hard. But yeah, you go and beat a Geelong side in a semi-milestone game for Tomahawk without your captain. I think you got to take notice.
Yep.
Obviously, the question's always with the Adelaide sides, the Perth sides. Can they do it in Melbourne? Yeah. Can they do it come business end of the season? I think you just look at those names in the midfield and the fact that they can go out and just complete, like every centre bounce in the first half of that game. You're like, Geelong are going tap out. And away, and hats off to what's his name, Dante Vicentini or something along those lines. Debuted in the ruck, held his own. Geelong made like a tactical sub, dropping Reece Stanley out. Did really well in the absence of Sweet, who's been pretty good. So definitely have all the makings of a side that can win a comp. It's so tight there in the top sort of 4 to 6 to top 8.
Definitely. Yeah, we said it before. Anyone in that top 10 can still win at the moment.
Sydney's
have they just had a lucky draw at the start of the season?
Go through the game. So
Richmond. So yes,
Eagles,
so far,
Richmond.
Yep.
Lost a close one at home to Melbourne. Smacked the fuck out of Essendon, who we'll get to in a second. Close one against the Dockers. Lost to Collingwood. Beat St Kilda in a close one. Lost the show. I think the showdown's probably a reasonable, where you want to argue, they're not the real deal. Well, you show up to the showdown, and if you're getting beat by 5 goals by the Crom, who are sort of middle of the pack kind of team,
up and down.
Yeah, but maybe not the strongest draw. You look at it going forward. They play Hawthorn next week. They play North the week. So they probably the next 2 rounds they should win. Yeah. It's maybe Carlton and Giants, Brisbane, that run sort of late May, early June, that will be a real litmus test for them. But yeah, the next 2 weeks they should win handedly.
Yeah, you should think so.
Should we talk about the team that's coming first, outright first?
Yeah.
Swannies, 87 to Fremantle 39, who didn't do themselves any favours with their kicking. Bit of a tough night for Freo with the passing of Cam McCarthy. Age 29, nearly played 50 games with Fremantle, and not a good run really for Freo because they had Harley Ballich who passed away a couple of years ago. So there's a few blokes there that that have lost 2 ex-teammates now, and a few also reportedly not doing the best. You can see it meant a lot to the boys as well. When they did the pre-game, and Pearce and Fife and a few others had tears in the eyes. It makes you think it's more than just footy. But but yeah, whether or not it was the emotion of the night that got to them, Swans were
Definitely a couple of hard days leading up to it.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty fresh as well. It was like within 48 hours of the game. So, when you're expected to go out there and perform at a high level, given the fact that you've just lost a mate, it's pretty difficult.
Yep. Yeah, there's not a lot of details surrounding it, but
we don't really want to speculate.
Yeah. They just say he was found unresponsive and pronounced deceased essentially at his house. So.
Yeah. It's not good, and thinking of Cam's family, but there was a game of footy that took place, and Sydney were just way too good, and our other team to beat in the comp at the moment, aren't they?
Yep, definitely.
Heaney Brownlow, can you get some Brownlow ones?
Oh yeah,
he's absolutely come into his own this year, and I think moving forward as well, the likes of McDonald and Armadi and some of the young forwards have really been shining. They're playing out of their skin, and it'll be interesting to have a look at their draw as well. What's Heaney paying for a Brownlow?
$4.50.
Pretty incredible.
Pretty sure. That's pretty short.
Yep.
Is he at the top? Or?
He is at the top. After him, you've got Nick Dacos, Cripps, Merritt all at 7, Sarong at 9. They're your top 5 at the moment.
I think Grundy's been a big get for them as well.
Yeah, missing piece, I think. For sure.
Just a big veteran presence in the middle.
I didn't see any of this. I say I just watched the highlights the morning after, but certainly seemed like one-way traffic over there at Optus. I think, did Fremantle kick one goal in the first half? You got the quarter by quarter there, Max, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, 1 goal first half. They didn't kick their second until third quarter.
Just blew them off the park.
Yep.
Swans, definitely real deal.
Yep.
Hawks had a good win against St Kilda. Also did not see any of this down at University of Tasmania Stadium. I did see Albo decked out in some Hawthorn gear there, so didn't know he was a Hawks fan. There you go.
He was for a few photos.
Monks, I've seen no highlights of this whatsoever. Can you get up some numbers from that Hawks St Kilda game?
Pretty low scoring there, of course.
58-53. Tends to be in Tassie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what they do, because I think that stadium's still up and down, isn't it? They haven't really confirmed what they're going to do for home ground for the Tasmanian team, but if they can crack some sort of fortress and the low scoring, cold weather, dewy, etc. down there in Tasmania,
Dewy.
Yeah, might play into their favour.
It's interesting as well. If they build a stadium, will they just play exclusively out of Hobart, or do they go up to Launceston and share it around? You'd think if Tassie gets a team, you play 2 or 3 out.
But if they're going to spend $1 billion on a stadium, they're going to have some return on that investment. So I think they'd probably
You could do what GWS does.
Play 3 games in Canberra.
But did they build a $1 billion stadium in Sydney for them? No. So
Canberra are notorious for not building stadiums too.
So,
no major goal kickers there. Watson,
no major goal
Owens,
kickers.
Moore, King battle 2 apiece. Any major ball winners? 31 apiece for Newcomb and Eamon. Worrying for St Kilda, I would think. Good to see the Hawks getting a few wins. What about the Bombers, Marks? You expect them to go out and win this one?
Looking good. I think I was the only one who did expect him to go out.
You tipped him, did you?
I tipped him. I had to tip him. Good. It was probably a game that they really need to win to sort of show a bit of a litmus test of how they're going to hopefully play out the rest of the season. Did not watch too much of this one. Was watching our mighty
Dragons.
Dagons.
The Dargons.
Up the Dargons.
Up the Dargons. But I did catch the end of it. I think what was it? I think they got out to a slow start. GWS was in front for the first little bit. For most of it, really. And then, Essendon sort of just started winning those one-on-ones in the midfield and pushing it forward. I think they were pretty...
Yeah, led at half. GWS led all the way to half time and then lost it in the second half.
Did see Mac Welfie with the painted nails and showing the camera. Nice little story there for a young fan who's unfortunately fighting cancer. Nice little story there. And Kyle Langford, mate, he boots a few. I feel like every week we're talking about Kyle Langford. Booted 4 in this one. Bombers sit 3rd.
They do.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What's
Happy
their
with
run looking like upcoming?
Ooh, let's bring that up.
Yeah, I wonder if they come into a bit of a port discussion. Obviously,
Well, the GWS
Yeah.
was
huge.
Yeah,
That's where I was so
roughly
surprised
fourth or
because
fifth on
I
the ladder
feel
at
like
the time. So
yeah. So looking back from round one, beat Hawthorn, big whoop. Lost to Sydney, beat St Kilda, big whoop. Got smacked by Port Adelaide.
That was the other round as well, I think.
Beat the Bulldogs, so that's a pretty good scout there. Beat the Crom by 3 points. Had the draw on Anzac Day. Have beaten the Eagles. I still think there's some question marks there, and obviously the Giants win is a big scout.
Going to North Melbourne.
Well, look at their run moving
Richmond,
forward. North,
Suns.
Not bad.
Richmond Suns.
Maybe in a month's time when they play the Blues.
Bro, we could be talking about the Bombers top two, like with that run over the next month. Yeah. And then sort of June, July, it starts to get a little bit more challenging for the Dons.
Yeah.
Certainly playing better than expected.
Mm-hmm.
Bulldogs smacked Richmond. This was the biggest margin for the year, I believe. I think the Dogs have the biggest and the second biggest margins in terms of winning for the year. Tigers didn't kick a goal in the first quarter and pretty much set the tone for the match. Trelaw, 41 disposals, goal, and the goal was pretty handy itself. The Tigers had a few injuries out of this one, and much like South over in the league, up there with the most banged up teams getting around, and it's been a hard sort of baptism of fire for Adam Uze and the Tigs so far. I don't think they're playing finals footy this year. If you got an injury list there,
I think that team's kind of needs to really go into full rebuild. Yeah.
So last night, Sam Banks goes into concussion protocol. Jack Ross hurt his foot, and Morris Rioli hurt his leg. That's to be confirmed, the damage there. Join the likes of Gibkiss, who did his ACL at the start of the year. Hopper's missed time with a hammy. Tom Lynch is still missing a bunch of time with his hamstring. Tim Taranto and his broken wrist. There's some pretty big names there, and it's hard to perform when you've already lost your dynasty coach and a few big names when the top end of your list is all hurt.
Yep. No, very much so.
Gold Coast beat North pretty convincingly up there in hot conditions in Darwin. I think it's worth talking about Will Power, given that he copped a 5-week suspension for homophobic slur in last week's game.
Probably saying the F word he shouldn't say.
I'd imagine so. Thoughts? Because Finlayson copped 3 weeks for and maybe this is where the precedent,
started. Yes.
Well, Finlayson said it on a podcast. Idiot. Who do those?
Yes.
And then Powell said it directed at a player. And it's kind of like as soon as the words come out, apparently it was like, I've fucked up here.
Yeah.
It wasn't that F word.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yes.
And then he's gone out, apologised multiple times, and texted the bloke and apparently was reasonably amicable, but the league says no, we're not standing for it, and have gone 5 weeks.
Yep. Got hit with that inflation, bro.
Inflation with Spencer Lenu's only just come back in the league. Got 8 weeks for a racist term. It's interesting, isn't it? It used to be.
It's the wrong headline. So
yeah,
the AFL, NRL, whoever it is, they don't want to be associated with any of that. So
Tex, that's a good example. Tex copped 6 weeks. What was that, 3 years ago? Matt Scorn came out and said he's ashamed to be an Aussie rules player. I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? You're like, well, 6 weeks if that's physical, you took someone's head off. Like you did something pretty egregious to cop 6 weeks.
What did Barry Hall get for punching that bloke?
8, I think. Maybe 10. But I also see where they're coming from. It's like, you can't be using words that are hurtful to whole groups of people. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, and maybe he's a bit of a scapegoat. I think it's interesting there that the Tex one was 6 weeks and the Finlayson one was 3 weeks. So obviously the context plays into
matters as well.
Yeah.
The leagues hate it. They don't.
Yep, he knows he fucked up.
They don't want it. So
a month of footy and
they go pretty hard at it to send that message that you shouldn't do those things. But otherwise, Suns were dominant in this.
Suns are good.
Yeah, they've got a good young team. They play in that structure that Hardwick wants them to play in. They play aggressive footy and, puts them in games. They're not going to, I think, trouble too many of the top teams, but they've been competitive so far this year.
Any major ball winners there?
Took I think, played pretty well.
Yeah, Took had 29 and a goal. They're all shin boners in Davis Uniacke, Fisher, McKercher. He's been, good little rookie coming through for him. But, they're still winless. And you start to wonder when are they going to get their first win. 3 goals for Ben King. Suns are good-ish.
Goodish. I think being 10th on the ladder, like your Dragons, kind of reflects where they should be.
Adelaide Brisbane played out a draw. We haven't seen much of this, which is sort of the highlights as we're coming in to prepare for the pod. 2 draws in 3 weeks there in the AFL. Brisbane lost Darcy Gardner and Link McCarthy both last week in the Q Clash, both doing ACLs. Pretty devastating.
Can you find the injury toll for the Lions too?
Yeah, they're not good either in terms of...
and most of them ACLs as well. So
there was a bit of the chat there. Is the Gabba surface playing into it?
Yeah. What is it? Is there any common denominator for us having so many ACLs?
I think Faze was kind of like no.
There's
nothing to suggest that it's the surface. I think it's a reasonable question to ask. Like why specifically so many ACLs up there in Brisbane playing on that surface? Like we're big fans of the NFL, and
it's not turf, so
and it's not the perfect.
Too much sand in the ground up there.
Maybe it's not the perfect analogy, but there's certainly some places where you seem more prone to do your ACL than others.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what ACLs at the Gabba are outside of the lines. Like if there's other teams that have played there. There's like
cricket. What are we talking here? Big Bash?
But just at the AFL, of their opponents as well that have played there. How many other blokes have got ACLs from playing at the Gabba? Good luck trying to find that statistic. But to go to your theory, is it the common denominator a little bit the Gabba surface? But I think the Lions have been a bit hard done by with ACLs. Barry was very good in this. I think I was just checking it.
30 and a sausage roll?
Yeah. 1-1 and a 30. So good job, old Jared, in that one. Dunkley kicked one as well. Zork was good. Big Oscar got plenty of ball.
What about the crowd?
McLarridge. And for the same, Darcy, Crouch, all very good. Who kicked the most goals for them? Rankin and Fogarty got 7 between the two of them.
Both been good. Rankin and Fogarty, that's for sure. Can you go back?
Archie got 4 for the Lions.
Oh. Max, can you go back to that injury list for the Lions, if you've still got that?
Yes, I do.
So ACLs, obviously Ashcroft last year.
He should be back, actually.
Caden Coleman, Link McCarthy, Darcy Gardner overnight, or last week, I should say. That's 4. 4 currently on their list.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Any other ligaments?
4.
Is there any MCL?
Dodie, did he do his ACL too? Can you just check that?
Which one, sorry?
Tom Dodie. It might be 5. Might be 5 ACLs, which seems like a lot.
Yep. For one club, it does.
Yeah. Interesting.
Did you find anything else on Gabba ACLs?
No,
good luck chasing that. That might be some research for...
Yeah, give me a week.
Yeah.
Tom, yes, ACL as well.
So that's 5. That's 5 confirmed ACLs on their current list. That's a lot.
So definitely seems like a lot.
Yeah.
State of the AFL, what do you think? I can do the run through very quickly. Swans at 1, Cats at 2, into the Bombers, and D's 3-4, Giants, Port Adelaide, Blues, and Collingwood make up your top 8.
Pies have turned it around from a month ago. Definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think the big one when they just had a draw was probably the Lions, not even being in that. They've had a very, as we've talked about before, very weak start. Then, of course, it goes Dockers 9, Suns in 10, actually leading of the Queensland teams. Bulldogs at 11, the Crom at 12, Lions at 13, St Kilda at 14, Hawthorn, Eagles, Richmond, and North Melbourne make up the rest of the list.
You just reminded me, West Coast got touched up by the Pies. I don't think we spoke about that either. That was this afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyone in that top 8 looks likely. And even like going through that 9 to 12 sort of range, like where do you sort of draw the line? Like Freo, Gold Coast, Bulldogs, Crom, Lions, and then I think maybe St Kilda down. We've got some issues.
Yeah, I agree.
So here we go. Next week, it's looking good. Getting good crowds.
Yeah, AFL
Always does. It feels like I don't know.
compared to some of the rugby league games in the recent weeks, their crowds have been dreadful.
Yeah.
What was
Any weather, no one shows up.
What was the one a couple of weeks ago? It was
Allianz where
the
Allianz?
Penrith game at
Against
Allianz.
Roosters?
maybe.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
Yeah, they had 6,000, I think.
Yeah, and Aussie said it felt like it was maybe few tickets getting scanned twice to get the 6,000 or 8,000.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's starting to go down that road. Let's talk about somewhere that's sold out every night and talk about some NBA conference semifinals.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up, bang!
Should we talk quickly about the awards?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Awards.
Wemby,
Rookie of the year.
shock horror, rookie of the year.
Every stat is dominated.
Naz Reid getting the sixth man of the year, which I thought was a little interesting. Gobert winning
Defensive.
Yeah, was that his fourth?
Well, I believe that's his fourth for defensive player of the year.
Well, I don't think anyone's got five. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
I'll let you chase that. What was quite interesting is he's probably never going to win that award again because
Wemby was close this year.
Wemby in most major categories had better statistics than him.
Yeah.
So, I think they kind of went with, we'll give him rookie for this year and
the next 10 years is going to be Wemby.
Yeah, Wemby's going to win the defensive player of the year for the next 10 years because
all the block stats that you'd it was like
steals,
blocks this month, and it'd be like a few teams Wemby, and then it'd be like the rest of the league. He's a freak, man. He's an absolute alien.
Yep.
But the big award, I suppose, was the MVP.
The
Let's
MVP.
talk about the Joker.
Yeah,
so third MVP was short odds, obviously, after the Embiid injury and him not being eligible from not playing 65 games. 3 MVPs. This is the list of people that have done it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 6. Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, 5. Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, LeBron James, 4. Moses Malone, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, 3. Pretty elite company that he's in there, the big Joker now. There was a little conjecture. You look at the numbers, and out of any of that he's won, I think this is possibly the year where there's an argument for someone else, most notably Luka Doncic or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I still think the deserving man won it. I think there's an argument for Luka when you look at numbers across, all the categories there. But the fact that the Joker was, I'm pretty sure he's top 10 for all 3 major categories. The team's been highly successful. I think the right man got it.
Yeah, I think if I said to you, Joker is the best player in the league,
Wouldn't argue.
and that puts him in the MVP conversation straight away. But if I said who was most valuable, maybe SGA
To their team?
to their team, getting the number 1 seed as well, maybe edged him out slightly for being the MVP, as being the most valuable player in the league for what he did for OKC.
Well, then let's spin it back to what you asked me just then was who's the best player in the NBA. And I don't think it's SGA, as good as he is.
Yeah.
I don't think that SGA is.
Agree. So I think for me, I think Joker's the best player in the league at the moment. He's just so dominated across all the categories, and he's so complete
offensively,
player.
defensively.
And it's the reason why the Nuggets are doing so well and won a comp last year, the championship. So, but I think yes, maybe SGA maybe did slightly more as being most valuable
to his team.
For his team. Maybe that's probably my only caveat. I don't know. I think I've seen that conversation go back and forth, but the Joker winning it, I think we said it maybe 3 or 4 months ago. The Joker was going to win it after him.
It was pretty much a given.
It was like, can anyone chase him down enough? I think SGA went probably pretty close, maybe even Ant. He's third in there as another one. And, same sort of thing as another guy that was very valuable to his team to get them as a higher seed as he did. I think Joker still was just a touch above. But it's pretty interesting because, we used Curry as a soundbite. Bit of a change of the guard in the league, definitely across the board for all those guys playing in the finals at the moment. So, I think Joker will be happy with his third and fourth in 4 years. The 1 year he didn't win it, they did win a championship. So there is that.
Well, there's a bit of a curse around the guys that win the MVP, much
yeah.
like there is in the NFL. It created a wee bit of sort of controversy. I'm saying that in inverted commas with my hand, in that, you know, Shaq and Shannon Sharp and people got into it. But I think for the majority of people, the most deserving person won the MVP, and that's the Joker.
Yeah. And then, you know, the best bit about it is the Joker doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, fine, I go to another award. Whoop.
Did
Trying
you
to
see
win
the
a
reaction?
final.
They did a filming of it, like the boys are all together, and they've got the announcement coming through, and they've got the camera on him, and he's like, "Yay, MVP! So excited!" Like, obviously, like, you know, just
classic Joker shit.
Yeah, just a stitch up kind of stuff. He can't wait to get back to Serbia for his horse racing. I think come July. I want to just touch back on what you mentioned with the changing of the guard. No Warriors. Lakers get bumped.
No Durant
in the first round. Yep, the Suns get swept in the first round. So yeah, the NBA feels like a real changing of the guard at the moment. And you look at the Warriors and Steph, they're probably not going to win another championship. You wouldn't think.
Yeah, unless they do something major.
Get LeBron or something. And then going over to LeBron, unreal watching those. You know, few games where they showed a bit of fight against the Nuggets, but the Nuggets obviously way too good. What's going to happen next year? You know, is Bronny good enough to go and enter the draft next year? Does someone draft Bronny James just on name value because his play at USC doesn't really warrant?
Yeah, well, there's some chat he's going to enter and he'll be a second round pick. And
he'd be lucky to be a second round pick based on his play at USC. Look, the bloke had a cardiac arrest. Not even 18 months ago? That's got to play into things. And I'm sure some teams will be saying, yeah, your name's LeBron James is on your birth certificate. It says LeBron James. We'll throw a fucking second round at you and see what can happen. I think the jersey sales alone probably make sense in doing it.
And the potential storyline of, like, that's how you coax his old man and can play for you.
Well,
but that's why the Lakers want to potentially do that, because they want to keep LeBron in LA. And
that's been the rhetoric now for the whole back end of the year, when it became pretty apparent that the Lakers aren't probably winning a chip this year, is what does LeBron do next year? Where does his legacy finish? That's going to be probably all the talk in the off season. Yeah. LeBron didn't give much away in that last game, the post match interview.
There was a retirement questions.
They asked him,
like, when I know, I'll let you know.
I want to think about my family right now. You know. Didn't give much away at all, but certainly it didn't feel like a man who'd played his last NBA game by any stretch. That's got to be the hoopla in the off season. Is going to be where does LeBron James play next year, and is it with Bronny James?
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Let's talk about these conference semifinals and where we're at. Boston go 2-1 up against Cleveland. Interesting that they did drop a game at home as well, at TD Garden, in that second game, losing by 14 points to the Cavs. After
Spider good.
Yeah, Spider really turned it on in that one. He's been, I don't know about this morning, but he was the Cavs' top scorer in Game 1 and Game 2. Celtics showed that they are human, but I think they're still $2 or less to win the whole thing.
Yeah, they're still the best in there.
You think they come out of the East?
Yeah.
We'll get to it in just a second. How the other two teams in the East are looking. I think as a team, definitely the most well-rounded. I had a few question marks around, how's Derek White going to go in playoff basketball? He's been elite. If anything, Tatum's been able to take a bit of a back seat to it and let Brown and White score a lot from the perimeter.
Yep.
And Tatum's done a big job cleaning up the glass.
Yeah,
and
he had 33 today.
Yeah, he was pretty good. And they won comfortable, didn't they?
They won by 13. And answer your question, Spider had 33 in this as well.
So he's been their best in 3 games from a scoring perspective. Cavs are fun, man. I think not having Jared Allen probably hurts, especially with Porzingis not playing. That's probably somewhere where they could really dominate with Mobley and Allen if they were both healthy. But no Allen, no Porzingis. That kind of cancels each other out, and the series becomes even more interesting in that regard. Game 2, Celtics went into that as $1.10 favourites. So the fact that the Cavs are able to go to TD Garden and win what they dropped 4 in the regular season in Boston makes it interesting. I think this still reeks of 4-1.
Yep. Possibly
the Knicks and the Pacers a bit more interesting. They're 2-1 now with the Knicks leading that series. Knicks coming through the 76ers in that fun opening round, and the Pacers beating a injury-riddled Bucks. And it's the Jalen Brunson show, really, for the Knicks. Had 3 40-plus games in a row. That was like a Knicks record going back to the 80s. The big question is, if they get through this series, can they knock off the Celtics? Probably the answer is no. But fuck, the NBA will like to see Eastern Conference final.
New York team make it
with two teams that hate each other and have storied basketball history. I think for everyone that's fans of the NBA, it's hard not to like the Knicks at the moment.
Yeah.
I think losing Anunoby and Robinson for a few games in this series is probably gonna hurt them. But I still think they get through the Pacers. As good as Halliburton and Turner and Siakam are, the rest of the support possibly not the best. Although we did see Nemhard with the big long 3-pointer to clinch a game yesterday. I think the Knicks get through. I think we're looking at Celtics-Knicks in the Eastern Conference Eastern Conference Finals, I should say.
Yeah, well, Pacers did win yesterday to take 2-1, and they play tomorrow morning.
Yep. So both are 2-1 there in the East.
Bit of fun.
Everything's 2-1 actually at time of recording. Because OKC, Dallas goes to 2-1 Dallas this morning.
Yep.
This game was really early. I woke up, I was like, oh, what the fuck, the basketball finished already.
That Pacers Knicks game I mentioned tomorrow is at 5:30 in the morning. So
so set your alarms, guys.
There you go.
Yeah, just because it's playoffs doesn't mean it's not afternoon starts over there. Dallas Stars are playing in the NHL playoffs. I don't know if that played into it. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about what we do know, and that's the basketball. OKC looked quite good in that first game. Smacked them up by 22 points. I think they had 7 guys that hit 3-pointers, which is insane. Their perimeter shooting is elite. But Mavs have gone bang bang in game 2 and game 3 and lead the series at the moment with the next one in Dallas.
Interesting that Washington was their top scorer for that.
Yeah, PJ Washington got 29, I think.
Yeah. What was also interesting is they've actually picked on Giddey as kind of like the weak link in the OKC team, and for that reason, he played only 13 minutes in this game today.
He's not there next year.
Yeah.
The more that I watch them play, he is a starter in terms of when they read out the first 5 guys, and he's the first.
He's definitely got talent. Like he's had moments definitely throughout the season in games, but I just think with Chet and what they're trying to do there with SGA, like he gels, but I think he's just the weakness that other teams pick on. So yeah, he needs to find a. I don't want to say he's a system guy, but he needs to find a system that works for him, and that they can
this
plug
time
him into
last year, he wasn't a system guy. He was running a lot of the offense, and I don't know if it's the off-court stuff that's played into it this year, or they've just let SGA take
over completely,
take a bit more of it, and the play of Jalen Williams as well probably plays into it, and how good he's been. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Giddey's playing for the Thunder next year.
Yep. Yeah, he needs a big Olympics potentially for chasing new contract somewhere else.
Have you seen that American team for the Olympics?
Here's your gold medal. All right, who's going to get silver?
We could say that every Olympics, I suppose.
True.
And it's in a time at the moment where...
But I think it's a bit different because I think in recent Olympics, it wasn't the best of your best going. Like there's some guys that was like, yeah, I'm going to opt out of the Olympics. Whereas like this is like every big dude name is just like, this is probably my last Olympics. I need to go. So they've...
there's a bit of that.
Yeah, they've definitely loaded it up. Their own Monstars kind of team. But it'll be an all-time story if they choke it.
They've won 4 in a row, and Argentina won it in 2004. Can you bring up that American Olympic team, because it's pretty sexy? It's interesting though at the moment where the Euros have been so dominant. Problem is none of them play in the same country. Like Luka's at Slovenia, Greek Freak's Greek, obviously. Joker is Serbian. A few of the Canadians. We're just talking about SGA.
But Well, it's interesting
None
though.
of them play together.
Yeah, true. But I guess the Olympics kind of leads to more European style of basketball than it does the US.
Yeah, it's different, yeah.
Because they play defense.
The rules are different.
Yeah.
Monk's got the team there. Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, interesting, electing to play for America. He's eligible for Cameroon and France. Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday. Drew's kind of like happy to be here, I think. LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum. Going to take some beating.
Because you look at that, I think Curry, Durant, LeBron, and Kawhi, like
that's probably their last.
They're not. It's going to be very unlikely, and in 4 years' time they'll be.
Maybe even AD.
Same thing. Like some of those guys are getting up.
Well, let's go the other way. The guys that have got more in them are definitely Ant-Man, definitely Tyrese, definitely Tatum. Yep. Outside of that, there's no guarantees. Anyways, we digress, but the Olympics will be fun. It's a fun, as it always is, US national team. Let's talk about a few of those guys in the Minnesota and Denver series. Minnesota,
very tasty series.
But yesterday I started to think, okay, well, we got the Denver that we've been used to, and they did it in Minnesota's home court.
No one can play at home at the moment. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so he lost one at home. Boston lost one at home. This Minnesota team, obviously spearheaded by Anthony Edwards, maybe the best young talent in the league.
The big tools that support him as well.
And remember when they did the Gobert trade, and we're like, fuck, that doesn't make much sense. Like, you've already got KAT.
Hey, if he's winning Defensive Player of the Year, like they found
it makes sense.
Found a role for him, and they had the number one defense in the league, and that played into one of the reasons why they won the first two games, because they really stifled Murray and sort of his controlling, and then kind of forcing Joker into a different sort of role.
It didn't even need Gobert in one of them. He missed game 2, I believe it was, for birth of his kid.
Yep, and with that frustrations, that led to Murray throwing shit on the court and getting his $100K fine. I think he'd be quite happy with that fine, but kind of showed the frustrations of the Nuggets. So maybe they lost their way. Maybe the young Wolves, as you would, had really started to pressure them. But by all accounts, it sounds like they went away, took all the criticism, played it, took it all in, and tried to create that chip on the shoulder. It's like, hey, everyone's doubting you. Everyone's saying you ain't shit anymore. The championship was last year. You're all washed, and the young fellas are here to take over. Then you're gonna get swept. So they came out and played really hard in that third game.
No sweep here.
Yeah, and so the question is, can they keep that momentum equal up the series? And I guess that goes for a lot of the teams. Can they equal up that series and make it very competitive?
Well, their odds swung big time.
Yeah. They're still a very good basketball team.
Yeah, and they went from, I think, 21s at 2-zip down to $8 at 2-1 down. They've still got to win away tomorrow to tie it up and then go back to Denver. But it's probably the funnest series, I feel. And I think you were pretty vocal in our group chat saying you think the winner of this wins.
Yeah. Whoever wins the series, I think will go through and win the comp.
Yeah, interesting.
Because I think both these teams are better than Dallas and OKC.
Yep.
And I think going through those teams to get to the final is a tougher run than the Celtics. So again, the only thing is go through that hard run, do they burn themselves out? But I think, or are they battle hard and they go into the Celtics, and the Celtics haven't had that much level of competition that these guys have had to come through to get to that final.
And the C's as well for Porzingis not playing at the moment. Probably going to be sweet by all reports for the next round. But if he's a little bit underdone...
big man and calf injuries aren't great.
Well, that's right. And then you run into, depending on if
Joker.
they get Joker or the two-headed monster of Gobert and Cat. That's a lot for Porzingis and Horford to have to deal with. So if there is a chink in the armour of the Celtics, it's maybe the big. I think on paper, the C's are very well rounded, and we've seen games where Tatum has an off night and they still win by fucking 20. So they've definitely got that real team aspect to them, and their points off the bench have been pretty invaluable too. But yeah, I'll go with you. I'll say maybe it is the winner of Minnesota and Denver. Wins the league. It's certainly more interesting, I think, in the West still
definitely.
than the East.
Yep.
The Pacers aren't going to win it. The Cavs aren't going to win it. Like, you know, the Knicks would be fun. I'm sure the NBA
Knicks would be fun.
would love the story.
But again, I don't think they're going to win.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of work for Brunson to do, and with OG and Robinson injured at the moment, you think it's really the Celtics versus the best of the West.
Yeah. And finish on the Nuggets. I think Porter's actually been really big for them, and it's quite interesting him when his family at the moment. I think he's joking. He's like, I've got 16 brothers, because he's got that one brother that we talked about. He got done for the gambling, and then he's another brother. I think got arrested for assault or something during the week. So he's had a rough couple of weeks leading into this. But I think he's joking that he's got enough brothers floating around that it hasn't really impacted him that much.
I think him and Aaron Gordon, KCP's okay, but they kind of fly under the radar. Like them without Murray and Jokic and Jokic are pretty good players.
I think without Aaron Gordon last year, they didn't win the comp. Like, I think he was such a massive addition to them. So he was really what they needed to put him over the edge. Add to so Joker wasn't carrying it, and give Murray enough space so he can do what he needs to do. Gordon's massive for their outfit.
Just quickly finishing on Jokic, the MVP curse. We talked about changing the guard. So the last person who was to win the MVP and NBA Finals was Steph Curry back in 2015. Since then,
So Giannis, the year he won it, they didn't win that because he
made conference finals.
Yeah, right. So it's a proper curse.
Yes, and then since Giannis lost in the conference finals, obviously Jokic winning 3 of the last 4, all including Embiid have bowed out in the second round. Conference finals, so
Omens.
Minnesota's would
Load
be
up on the
licking their
T-Wolves.
lips there, yeah.
Yep.
And it's fun to watch, man.
Oh, definitely. This is the right time of year for basketball. They play defense. They play hard for basketball. So, it's good to watch.
The 82-game pre-season's come to an end. All right, boys, let's jump over to India. Let's talk some cricket. Travis Head, there's not many more likeable guys in the Australian sporting hemisphere. Some of the knocks that this guy's had have been incredible. Has the 1 ton and a few rapid 80s to go with it.
They chased down like 170 in under 10 overs.
I think it was 169 in 10 overs.
Yeah.
And that begs
Mental.
that begs the question, where is the IPL now? Like, is it getting kind of a bit silly in the amount of runs?
What are you saying? Is it college football-esque where...
It feels like it.
Yeah, they just
You-
score.
NBA, it's just offense.
It feels like NBA All-Star week
Yeah.
every week in the IPL. Who'd want to be a bowler? Like we've seen, Mitch Stark go over there and get the huge contract and just be smacked to all ends of the park and not even make the
Team, yeah.
the team
He dropped.
sometimes. So it sort of begs the question, is this the elite sort of level of cricket, or has it just gone to the fact that people want to see runs and sixes?
Well, I think that was going to be my question. We use that comparison, college football. What sells? Touchdowns. And I think, the billion-dollar league that is, multi-billion-dollar league that is the IPL, sixes get, the crowd get the highlights in more so than the wickets do. So, I think they've kind of tried to push the league towards more of high scoring, the showmanship, throwing the bat around, and they've got the talent to have the batters, not just the international talent, but the local Indian talent, that they can swing for the fences. And it's, that's why it's leading to the high scores, and instead of low scoring, everyone's getting out because they're doing silly shots. So, I think from a league viewership media standpoint, I think they'd be very happy with what's happening. For the casual, or maybe more hard. So for the casual, it's probably good. For the hardcore that wants to see good cricket, I might be thinking, they're just bowling shit and throwing the bat at it. So,
and again, are we hardcores in cricket in that we like, Test cricket and a good enthralling battle between bat and ball, or we're watching Ryan Parag, play lofted cut shot over cover and hitting it fucking 10 rows back there with ease.
Yeah, after a bad short ball as well. So
Yeah, this ball deserved it.
yeah,
But that's a shot you'd expect Djokovic or Nadal. That's a tennis shot, and look how seamlessly it's gone. So I don't know. It's certainly had that feeling this year where it's like, oh wow, it's completely swung in the opposite direction.
yeah, it's definitely heavy in the
it's a
favour of
batsman's
batsmen.
league.
Yeah, definitely.
That said, Travis Head been elite up there amongst the top in the run scorers. If you wouldn't mind bringing that one up.
Some run scorers, wicket takers, and a table would be beautiful, Jimmy.
Did you see the Aussie team announced for the World Cup?
Yes,
No
I
Steve
did.
Smith, no Jake Fraser McGurk.
Yes, I think that was an interesting one, considering they put Warner and Wade in the team as, I guess, the two oldest batsmen. I think Warner was almost guaranteed based on history and form, and that it's going to be his last hurrah, essentially. Wade was probably an interesting one, but he's been solid and he gives you wicketkeeper experience too. And he's been through plenty of World Cups and won a few of them. So I think he gets, he's the lad you want in the squad to go play a World Cup. But yeah, you're right after what he'd been doing, scoring runs and at a very quick clip as well. For here, the young fellow to miss out is a bit hard. He was probably the biggest one, I think, out of everyone that missed. And I think, I'll add to that, Stoyne was. His ton was at the time
Very timely, wasn't it?
Yeah, to also get called in that squad because he had been struggling a little bit leading up to that.
Part of me's like, trust the process. The selectors know what
He'll play for Australia.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to play a lot for Australia at some stage. Out of the last 3 white ball World Cups, we've won 2 of them, including...
We'll make the final. We'll play India. We'll beat them. It's easy, done.
India can't win white ball tournaments.
Yeah.
That's that. Get at us in the comments. Part of me feels like that, and then part of me feels like this guy is like keeping Warner / Marsh out of his Delhi Capitals team.
Yeah.
Ponting obviously thinks the world of him.
Oh, yeah.
We're seeing some of the most rapid 50s we've ever seen from an Australian top order batsman. He needs to be in the 15 at least. Part of me does feel like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe
It's interesting that they only allow a 15-man squad as well. Like you thought, maybe
that's not big, is it? Yeah.
No, so that's why it is cutthroat essentially. And I think they've got another couple of weeks to potentially make adjustments to that as well. But
say for injury
of or the like, yes. But yeah, at this stage, he'll miss out, which is a bit unfortunate. But
I'm sure we'll see a lot of Jake Fraser McGurk playing for Australia. I thought personally, based on his form, he should be in that squad.
Now, question for you: is Coley going to play in the T20 in the Indian squad? Because
is there a question mark around it?
No. Well, I'm just asking a general question because I can't remember if he was giving away any of the forms of the game. Like, is he? Because I'm just trying to remember the history of he gave away all the captaincies. He's been playing a lot of Test cricket and the one-day cricket, and I just couldn't remember if he'd said anything about T20. I'm assuming he's going to be in the squad, and I'm worried he is because of the fact he's been absolutely smashing the IPL of late.
So he's not Rohit Sharma's captain of their T20 side. Kohli
will be in the side. Yeah.
And to go along with the rest of their squad, Jaiswal,
That's right.
Yadav,
He had the kid in that
Sky,
week. I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Pant, Sanju Samson, Hardik Pandya, Dubey makes it, Jadeja Patel, Yadav, Chahal, Arshdeep Singh, Bumrah, Siraj. On paper, incredible side that they're taking to the World Cup.
Considering Cole is averaging 70 at the moment, coming off IPL.
We're seeing old Kohli. Gaikwad maybe a little unfortunate to miss out. Shout out to the Steam, friend of the pod's been on a few times. Run us through the India A team. Incredible sort of depth there. Travis Head is the only person in the top 6 there that's not Indian.
It's interesting that nearly all of them average over 50 as well. So
I think given the way that the league's been, it's fair enough. Yeah. I think probably the best stat there that we've got up there with the top run scorers. Check out the strike rate for Travis Head. 202, call it. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah, 50 in front of anyone else for that. So
scroll down there, Mark. Sunil Nareen has been incredible. A bit of a resurgence for his career, batting at the top of the order for Kolkata Knight Riders. essentially when he's played for the West Indies has been a spin first option, and they're like, oh, he's pretty handy with the stick, and he's got 100 and 350s to boot as well, so he's having an excellent tournament. Phil Salt as well for the Pommy fans out there, he's top 10 in terms of runs scored as well.
Shipman's been good. Pant's been good.
Yeah, well, it's good for Pant. I think
Yeah, definitely coming after the car crash.
How much time he's had out of the game.
It's good to see him back playing really well.
Can you go bowlers there too? I think it's pretty Indian heavy as well. If you wouldn't mind going over there to Purple Cap. Yeah. So Bumrah 20 at 16, going at 6.5 and over. Harshal Patel has been expensive, but getting some polls. Chakravarthi, Deshpande, Harshit Rana, I don't even really know who that is, Arshdeep Singh, and then Sunil Narine. So in terms of player of the tournament, Sunil Narine's got to have an argument there.
Top 10 in both.
Yeah, top 10 in both for sure. And then if you wouldn't mind bringing up the standings, we'd be getting close-ish, I think, to some...
There is 9 matches left.
9 to go. So that's maybe next weekend is we're seeing some finals. So
19th of May.
That's next Sunday, I think. So Kings are gone, Indians are gone, Titans and RCB essentially gone. Let's go to the top 6. I think that's where we're interesting. Yeah. LSG, Delhi Capital, CSK all on 12 points there. So 4, 5, 6, they'll be vying to maybe, out of those 3 teams, one of them probably finishes 4th. And then Sunrisers Hyderabad off the back of Travis Head's incredible efforts. Rajasthan Royals and Kolkata Knight Riders at the top there. So we'll have some...
It looks like, Kolkata's confirmed qualified.
Yeah,
and
there's only 3 spots left. So
Royals should probably, because they've got a game in hand as well. So there.
So it's probably top 2's set, and then Hyderabad probably set as well. So it's really only Super Kings, Capitals, and Giants that are vying for that 4th spot.
Yeah. Who was playing in that game too, by the way?
I feel like it was Super Kings and someone. We got ads.
Rajasthan.
Royals. Okay, well that's a big game there. So if Rajasthan win that, then they're guaranteed essentially.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what the score was in that when it comes back. How far away is the World Cup?
Mid-June, I think.
Mid-June.
Like 6 weeks.
That's a month though.
I think it's mid-June.
Yeah. Mid to late.
The big news in the meantime, Jimmy Anderson set to retire.
Yes, if you want to bring up some stats, Monks. It was interesting because the Guardian reported it that McCullum, the head coach of England, have basically had a conversation with Anderson during the week to say that we're starting to look at the future. We've got to build towards the next Ashes series in Australia. It's likely we're probably not going to pick you going forward. So Jimmy's going, okay, cool. I'll finish up at the. This summer for England, and I'll play. I think he's going to play one more test.
That's what they said. Yeah, I don't know if that's guaranteed.
Who's it against? West Indies. Yeah. That'll be his farewell test, and then he's going to retire from Test cricket, which would be massive. I think we talked in the past about where does he fit GOAT status for fast bowlers, and we all talked about potential others and things like that. But for a Pommy, for an English bowler, I don't think there's any doubt he's probably number 1. So he's been dominant, got the 700 wickets recently, and outside in England, very very dominant. Outside of that, a bit up and down.
We've had the discussion in prior podcasts.
This whole video about it, go check it out.
Yeah, in terms of longevity and the fact that he's played Test cricket for 20 years and has 700 poles as a fast bowler, there's no question. I suppose when you come down to the average and wickets away and things, there's certainly arguments for other quicks,
etc.
Incredible career, 434 poles at home. What's his average in England? Can you get the sideways scroll going?
It doesn't want to do it for some reason. It looks like if that next column is, it'll be 20 something.
Yeah, 24 maybe. 24-5. Yep. Incredible record. You can't question the longevity of the bloke, and will go down as one of the best quicks of all time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And big change in the guard then for England with Anderson following Broad into retirement, and they'll look at the young fellas, but they did find some young quicks, some absolute speedsters in the last Ashes. So Wouldn't be too worried if you're an English fan.
And Ireland getting some wins against Pakistan, so
Yeah.
they're developing as a T20 nation, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially as warm-ups leading into the World Cup coming up. So, yeah, I think sneaking another win. I think they've beaten, with those topper tiers of cricket nations, they've beaten Pakistan twice now. So that's pretty good for them.
Does India have a head coach?
For T20, I'm not sure. I saw the report during the week that they were looking for a head coach. So I'm not sure how that kind of works, considering they're almost going into a World Cup series. I would have thought that has that locked down, but whether there's been a change in the T20 coaching ranks recently,
So it's Dravid's confirmed for the T20 World Cup, and then I think it's after.
Okay.
I think he said, yeah. Is that right?
Yep. India Cricket Board will hunt for a new coach to take charge after T20 World Cup in June. They left the door open for Dravid to reapply.
So it could be his.
Could be his.
Yep.
Okay.
And to update you in that game, the Royals only got 141 from their 20. So
Against the grain in this IPL.
Very against the grain.
So interesting as well that Dravid's been their coach from a T20 perspective, given the way that he played was the complete opposite of these, see ball, hit ball kind of blokes that we've got these days.
But that's an easy coaching method. You just go out there and say, do the opposite of what I did.
Don't worry about scoring 10,000 test runs.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about being an absolute bane or a thorn in Australia's side for many years from his ability to see off a bunch of rocks. Interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the IPL type of cricket follows down under the World Cup.
Yep.
On that, so currently this season there has been 2,964 boundaries. 2023 full season there was 3,200.
I did see they went through past the six. They scored more sixes already, like a week or so ago.
That's where you get that.
Yeah. Yes. Oh no, sixes.
Yeah, because
more than 2022. They've still got a bit to
Hasn't
catch.
passed
2023.
Last year, I should say.
Yeah,
But
but
they're
still
going to.
with 9 more matches plus finals,
They're going
the rate they're running at, they're going to hit 3,600 maybe.
Yeah.
It's a lot of boundaries. And who'd want to be a bowler? Yeah, honestly,
that's it. But yeah, you're seeing that year-on-year increase of.
It's a formula, isn't it? They want to see runs. I think if you go to the totals as well, we've seen 4 of the 5 biggest totals, or 5 of the 6. I think Sunrisers themselves have got 3 of them.
Yep.
It's just a runs fest over there in the IPL at the moment, and it's essentially seems like the trend that we're seeing in the IPL is more and more runs.
Oh, definitely.
Let's talk some football.
Yeah, let's do some soccer.
Yes, that's me, isn't it?
Well, Man City know what they need to do. They don't drop points, they win the league.
Yeah, well, yes. And I think if you bring the table up there, 2 ahead?
So Arsenal have have played the extra game. They're one overnight, so Arsenal played. So Arsenal's 1 ahead, but City have got the
I thought
game in
City
hand.
played and they won that game.
Last night they won 4-0 against Fulham, but Arsenal also played. So it's Arsenal have the 1 point.
Okay. So we're going back. No, I've got City at 85 points. Your table's old, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. So because City played.
So it's still same shit.
It's same. I think there's 2 games left.
If City win both, they win.
Yeah, exactly. So Arsenal, and I think looking at the teams, the run home essentially, Arsenal should win both their games. They get United, and I can't remember who the other one is, but they should win that game. Whereas City again,
they play Tottenham, don't they?
Yeah, so the big one is Tottenham. They get Tottenham, and then they should win their other game. So essentially, if you're an Arsenal fan, you want City to lose that game or draw it, because I think on goal difference, Arsenal might go ahead. I can't remember what the tiebreakers are in the EPL, but
Goal difference.
Yeah,
that was.
Yes, so Arsenal would be ahead on goal.
2.
Again, depending on how they go, but.
City's actually brought that back because Arsenal was
way ahead.
Way ahead, yeah.
City's last month have been put on the way.
Yeah. Haaland's really heated up. So
City's got
Haaland.
so they should beat
four
West. They should beat
Felix,
West Ham, but they've got Man City and
Spurs.
they've got Spurs, which is
It's a midweek
Wednesday.
game, isn't
It's
it? Is it
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Yeah.
I think Wednesday from what I remember.
That's close to the league, right? Well, obviously, all
and
games
then
count
Arsenal
to step up.
play Man United tomorrow, and then followed up with Everton, and they should win both those games.
It's at Old Trafford. United has been horrendous the last 6 weeks. I think
Arsenal should win it.
Well, last pod we were talking about United still have a sniff for Champions League.
Yep.
And now it's like finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's changed. They will finish top 10. It's, hyperbole, the statement, but they're eighth.
Yeah.
They're eighth. They dropped
They're
a
not
few
winning, though.
games
They're
that they
drawing,
could
but-
finish ninth. It's,
Yeah, Chelsea. And
don't get me started.
Yeah, Spurs are probably the one you be disappointed in. The recent form's not been great.
Yeah,
either.
and
To push into fourth, they probably
well, they need Villa to drop both games.
Yeah, they really could have done it as well if they had a good month themselves. But yeah, really haven't. Lost 4 of their last 5, so which doesn't help their cases. But if you're an Arsenal fan, you'd be hoping they do a big one at home versus City. And then at the bottom of the table, I think it's pretty much done as well.
Yeah, I think it's sorted. So I think Sheffield, we've known, have been gone for.
Sheffield's gone. Burnley's probably gone.
They are. They're Burnley, Luton gone. That happened overnight.
Yeah. Because they've only got 1 game left. Yeah, they're done.
Unless Luton win their next game by 13-0. Or Nottingham. Anyways, it's done.
Yeah, it's done.
So Luton and Burnley both had a year back. They're going back, and Sheffield have been cooked for a few months.
Yep. And not Forest holds on.
Notts hold on. Brentford
Forest, yeah.
holds on. Everton, we were worried about them. Their last run, they've won 4 of their last 5.
Yep. Haven't dropped a game. So
Yep.
Imagine where they would have been if they didn't.
Well, what did they drop? They dropped 10
10.
points, wasn't it?
So
So
it's
they'd have 50.
So that'll put them
So
at
they'd be
10.
10th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Harry Kane and Bayern?
Yep. The curse.
The curse. The
curse
Fogarty's
that is
cursed.
Harry Kane.
So a lot of conjecture around him leaving Tottenham last year. Felt like he'd never win any trophies. Goes over to one of the biggest clubs in Europe,
Yeah.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah. Hasn't missed a trophy in 12 years. So
The curse. Bayer Leverkusen haven't lost a game.
they've been so good, though.
We've been riding their dick for a while.
Yeah.
Go Leverkusen. And then with Bayern getting knocked out of the Champions League midweek.
Yep.
And obviously they didn't get whatever the German equivalent of the FA Cup is. They're going to have a trophy-less season.
Yep. And Harry Kane misses out, and then Spurs have been surprisingly good this year. So
They haven't really missed him that much.
yeah.
They're sort of where Tottenham always is. You know, not winning the league, but sort of in that 3rd to 6th
Yeah. Chasing some
sort of
silver.
range. Yeah. I'm sure during his tenure at Bayern, he probably does win something
Hopefully.
for him.
Let's hope the curse is not that too strong.
It's good for German football. It's good for
Yeah, it's good for a
fans.
change-up. Yeah, definitely.
They fucking won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Give it a rest.
Yep.
What about Mbappe? It's pretty much set.
Yep.
He's playing for Real.
Well, confirmed he's leaving PSG. All likelihood is that he's going to Real. Will play his last home game today for them, for PSG, or it's either today or next Sunday. But depending on what report you read on and understand the time differences of this Sunday. But yeah, he's finishing up with them, and yeah, we'll take a massive deal, I'm assuming, to play for Real, and they're going to be really fucking good as usual.
Toulouse, Sunday, local time. Is that next Sunday?
This was a post from yesterday, so
Yeah,
I'm
no,
assuming
mate,
it's
this weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Tomorrow.
which is what I was going with. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, overnight.
Pretty incredible. The fact that they had Messi, Mbappe, Neymar on the same field and never won the
Couldn't do
Champions
it.
League, and now you'd think it's
These monster teams, they just never really seem to work out.
made a team of champions beats a champions team. I can't remember.
You fucked that, but it's all good.
A superstar team beats a team of superstars.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Are we looking forward to the last few weeks of the APL? We've got Euros upcoming.
I think this week for those games is super important because we might have someone that win outside of City. That's the big thing. They haven't been as dominant this year. They haven't been at the top of the table the whole year, just running it. There's been some other teams up there. They've had to chase essentially. They're now in that position at the top. Got to hold on to it. And if you're Arsenal fans, you'll be praying that they could lose a game against Tottenham.
Imagine if United fuck it for everyone and win tonight.
It'd be a very Arsenal thing to bottle it as well.
Well, it's a weird thing for United as well. Well, like, do we go and beat them and then City win the league?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want?
Bro, let in 10 goals.
That'd definitely help their goal
Get to
difference.
Mad Monday.
Olympics as well, not far around the corner. Matildas are there. Socceroos won't be there. I was having a look at the men's.
Nathan Cleary will be there.
Nathan Cleary there. Didn't mention your conspiracy theory. He did his hammy on purpose so he can go watch Mary Fowler. Yeah. Very clever there.
Long rehab.
Long rehab.
Should have done his
Doesn't
ACL.
want to re-injure it.
The men's draw is unusual. Bring that up. There's no Brazil. There's no Italy, major tournament. There's never any Italy.
Yeah, they don't want to show up.
Australia's not there in the men's. So I think Uzbekistan is there.
So how's it work? Like, how to qualify?
Well, it's under 23s, plus you get the few marquee players.
Yeah.
And then
I
think all your qualifying is under 23s.
Yeah.
So essentially, the Ollie Roos got dicked in Asia. Then they didn't get out. New Zealand go through. I think
no Germany either.
Yeah, no,
Brazil,
it's
no
weird. It's
Japan.
weird, man.
Argentina's there.
That's men's and women's, I think.
Yeah, but he's sorted by men. So if you look
all over it,
you look at the ticks.
Argentina,
New Zealand's there, bro.
Argentina, Dominican Republic, big baseball country. Egypt, unless Mo Salah's been a marquee, who knows? France, Guinea, Iraq, Israel, Japan, Mali, Morocco, New Zealand, Paraguay, Spain, Ukraine, USA, Uzbekistan. So at the Olympics of that, Argentina, France, Spain,
yeah.
And France is only
big
I
soccer
suppose.
nations.
Yeah.
So it's
France is token because they are hosting.
they're hosting,
Yeah.
yeah. So it might be the girls that are a bit more interesting. Well, certainly for Aussie fans, it will be. But I'm pretty sure in their group they've got, is it America and Germany? Like it's a fucking hard group. Women's.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Germany,
Yeah.
Australia, and United States.
Good
Good luck. Good luck. Although 3 can get out, so good luck to Zambia in that one. It's how far till the Olympics as well? What are we're saying?
That says the 25th of July. On
yes,
it, so.
it's just over 2 months.
Yeah.
So they're sneaking up pretty quick too. Ready for
Are they playing cricket at this Olympics, or is that the
no cricket?
following one?
No cricket at this Olympics. No flag football at this Olympics. But
okay,
they might be coming around in 2028. Very good. Yeah, in Los Angeles. All right, let's get through to the final round. What do you reckon, boys?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Rub his bitch up.
Ooh, one more.
Come on, Danny Fingers.
Get lit up.
UFC 301 was last weekend. Probably a little bit lackluster event compared to UFC 300. I think that's a fair statement to make.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's hard to back up 300.
For Aussie
Big
fans,
Brazilian flavour, of course, because it was in Brazil. So
and a lot of the Brazilians performed quite well. The big fight of interest was the flyweight division. Alexandre Pantoja defeats Steve Erceg, but by all accounts fought pretty well.
Yep.
Went the distance. It was a unanimous decision for Pantoja. What do we take out of this one, boys? Steve, from what I saw, a few people were arguing he could have won the fight. Did you see it that way, or did you think the right man won it?
I think there was some opportunities that maybe he should have taken, and I think maybe he grappled more that he should have at certain moments that maybe led to opportunities for him to say score on the judges' cards and steal a couple of rounds. I think the right guy won in the end, but I think for Steve, he kind of showed that he belonged, because it was a big, like for him in the rankings, it was a big
Massive jump, wasn't
massive
it?
step up. But you get that a little bit in the flyweight division because it's probably not as well established as some of the other ones for name value. Outside of, because I guess Figgy and Marino went back and forward for ages, and then Pettora's kind of taken over. So, yeah, I don't think he did himself any disservice. I think he'll go away. He can definitely come back and compete for that championship in the future. But, yeah, I think the right guy won.
Likeable character in terms of Aussie fans. Get around him and watch the little UFC documentary thing that they do before each one, and get to have a look at him. The best story, I think, possibly out of that whole documentary is when he was talking to his old man. He said, I'm thinking about getting into professional fighting. What do you think? And his old man said, let's go out the back. And threw a few with the old man, and he said, yeah, all right, you can be a professional fighter. One of the best stories I've ever seen in my life. So there you go. Get into it with the old man with, consent and whatnot. And
Yes.
Go touch him up.
Make sure you've got it. You're good enough to go. So.
It'll be interesting to see what Urseg does from here. Yeah, like you said, had to go from way down in the rankings. It was his first loss in the UFC. How many fights? It's only his fourth fight in the UFC.
Yeah, fourth fight in the UFC.
I think was he ranked 8? I think
Nine, I think.
Yeah. Speaks a lot to that division. But yeah, I think he showed he belonged, at least fighting very well against the champion.
How old is he? He's only 27, 28?
28, yeah.
Yep, perfect. So coming into that into that prime for fighters, he's definitely got a lot of tread left on the tyres, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end of the spectrum, bloke that's been there, done that, Jose Aldo gets a win in bantamweight against Jonathan
coming out
Martinez.
Of retirement to make another run. So
when was his last UFC fight? 3 years?
Not that long. I feel like did he retire last year?
August 2022.
2 years.
Yeah,
Call it 2 years.
years. Yeah. So he retired because after that loss, he basically thought, I can't make a run in the bantamweight division. Like my title chances are off. But in that division, there's a lot that's been changed recently with O'Malley taking that and they kind of bouncing around. And Aldo's like, I could probably insert myself back in this conversation. And dude's been fighting for forever. And he's still very, very good. Got the unanimous decision in this one to put himself right back in the conversation. A couple fights away, and he'll be title contender.
How old's Aldo? He's kind of like younger than you'd think.
I think
36 or something.
Yeah, I think he's mid-30s now.
Yeah, it's 37.
37. Yeah.
Yep. So
Still got time.
Still got time, but yeah, like for amount of chances for runs, he's probably looking at one of his last runs to go. So yeah. And then Anthony, was that a heavyweight fight? The Anthony Smith one.
Yeah. So he went up, didn't he?
Yeah, that was significantly up for him. But I guess
And I was light heavyweight.
No, light heavyweight. You just written it wrong. It's fine. Light heavyweight
My
fight.
mistake.
They get the win with the submission there, kind of righting the ship a little bit for him. That's one win there to put himself back in that conversation for who's going to fight the light heavyweight champion. Of course, everyone's calling out Pereira because he's the money man at the moment, but I think Anthony Smith gets killed by him. But either way, and then Malaki, the Aussie, unfortunately had a loss at lightweight division on the undercard. So
he's 5 and 6 in the UFC. I think he's lost 3 of his last 4.
He was doing all right, and then he's gone a bit of a lackluster run.
Really needs a win to stay in the UFC. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a fight night tonight.
Fight night tonight. Derek Lewis was the heavyweight on the main one there. He got the KO victory of this in the third round. And I think he was on a bit of a slide, but heavyweight division, you knock a few blokes out, you're back in the conversation. Did his usual, took his pants off, threw his jockstrap in the crowd, and I think one of the reporters got it as well. So
nice.
Fanned himself down, fanned his opponent down, but yeah.
Send it down to us on the Esky, we'll hang out.
And then there was interesting, the Kiwi, how do you say Carlos's last name?
Ulberg?
He got a 12-second KO.
12-second.
Was he heavyweight as well?
Light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight. Yeah, so another big Kiwi will claim him, making his way up in the UFC as well.
Give him a click. I haven't heard much about him. Do you know much about Ulberg?
No, I didn't. I only picked it up on it because he was a Kiwi. Another guy kind of working in the rankings. How many UFC fights he had?
He's 10-1 total. He's been in the UFC since 2021. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh fight in the UFC. Scroll up. Let's have
a few knockouts in that.
Yeah. Likes to get it done as most big boppers do. He's 33, so not a spring chicken. That's for sure. 6'4", 205.
Yeah. Well, 12-second knockout will do him no disservice, and hopefully he'll be able to move up the rankings as a couple spots.
There's a bit of a big boxing fight today.
Mm-hmm.
Kambosos unfortunately going down to Vasily Lomachenko.
Yep.
Lomachenko was already holding the belt in a different one.
No,
this was vacant.
This was vacant, I think. So he did win the championship here. So essentially getting a knockout slash the towel got thrown at the same time by body shots. Kambosos just couldn't deal with the pressure. And if you look at the punching stats there after 10 rounds was 157 to 38. So it's unfortunate for the Australian, but he was definitely dominated in this one. And that makes that lightweight division is still very, very interesting. With 3 different champions from the 4 belts and their 4th one being vacant itself. So that'll be interesting going forward. And then it's been a pretty interesting week for boxing because in a way the Japanese fighter, the Monster, got knocked down in the first round in his fight and then came back and got a knockout in the 6th. Now the pound for pound ranked number 1, still unified in his. And also Canelo fought during the week too, got his win as well, being dominant Canelo as well, and he's targeting a Crawford fight who's, I think, unified as well with a couple of interims waiting for him to take his fight too. So, but they're, that's a 2 versus 4 in the pound for pound kind of rankings as well. So it's pretty fun at the moment.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like pretty much all of us boxing casuals, you probably know a bit more than me and Monks. But Lomachenko, when you talk about names in boxing, is up there with some of the best in modern times. So certainly, no mean feat for Kambosos to go out there and beat him, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, so Haney must got all those belts from when he beat, because he had 1 belt or 2 belts, and then Kambosos had the others, and then he won them all. And then I was obviously been vacating a couple of them, and then of course lost to Ryan Garcia recently as well, which wasn't for a belt because he missed weight. So.
And that's happened since the last pod as well. Crazy time.
But I think boxing's kind of realised, and they're taking, I guess, more of a UFC method. Like the having a 0 next to your name means nothing if you didn't beat any of the top guys. It's like, who cares if you went undefeated if you didn't beat anyone good? Now they know the money fights. The thing that draws people in is the top guys fighting the top guys, and you see now with the belts and that. And it's a very good time for boxing. We've got Tyson Fury and Usyk the 18th, which I think is next weekend. So you can confirm the day for me on that one, Jimmy. But another unification of the heavyweight division essentially for the winner and that. And we know that Anthony Joshua is waiting in the wings for potential winners, and it's looking pretty tasty. And then you got the silliness that is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. So
it's silly. They are going to sell out the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. There's obviously some interest.
Fully sanctioned as well. It's a professional fight. It's going to be 10 rounds. It's not going to be the amateur show. Yeah, they've got it sanctioned, which is crazy that some boxing body has got a 30-year difference. Between the two guys. But I think they've seen in Mike that he hopefully's got enough talent, which is interesting because they didn't sanction Mike Tyson's fight against Holyfield, I think, in their last one like a year or 2 ago. That was more an exhibition. But this is going to be officially a professional fight. And
on Netflix.
Yeah, hopefully Tyson knocks him the fuck out. That would be awesome.
I think a lot of people think that. Certainly kudos for Jake and the way that he's built a career out of boxing, and he's within his own rights a pretty fucking good boxer.
Yeah, well,
I don't think anyone's
he's been knocking out aging UFC stars for plenty. Couldn't do it against Anderson Silva, and Tommy Fury outclassed him as a boxer. So
See how he goes against an aging
Tyson
boxing
Fury.
superstar.
Yeah, who's
Like-
20 pounds heavier than him as well. It's because it's at heavyweight. It's a professional fight at heavyweight. Jake Paul's not going to weigh 220. He'll be like 180, 190 at most. So, yeah. Hey, Jake's getting paid, so he's going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So interesting time in boxing, but I think it's fun. It's back where it kind of needed to be, and I think you can probably thank the heavyweight division for,
Yeah, I think
a couple of years ago,
Yep.
kind of,
Yeah.
the guys that go back to, I guess, Fury beating Klitschko and
Yeah.
starting this kind of mold of heavyweights fighting the top guys, and top guys kept beating, and then everyone's kind of saying, "Oh, that's drawing the crowds, drawing the money, and we should do the same in the other divisions."
Yeah, I think it's mostly that, having Fury, Joshua, Wilder, Usyk, going at it. Probably the most interesting heavyweight boxing has been for some time.
Yep.
And then probably two other factors. I think that the celebrity boxing probably plays into it somewhat.
Yeah, generate a bit of interest.
Yeah, in the Paul brothers and the like, and I think some really talented mid-size fighters as well. In obviously Canelo's been doing it for a decade, but Haney and Lomachenko and
and those guys, trying to put fights together to fight each other as well, which is the main thing.
and for Aussies, the Sioux boys,
The Sioux boys.
there's
Is Nikita got to fight soon?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because he fought recently, but then they've booked him straight away.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick turnaround. Chase that one up.
but I know Tim doesn't, and they can't get a rematch for him at the moment. So, it's...
Because he won his last fight pretty comfortably, didn't he? And he
had a little bit of a scare with the early knockdown, but again, he managed to win it. I swear I saw something for him that he's booked an upcoming one.
Danilo Creati. Have they got a date for that?
Let's have a look.
If they've announced it, it's probably in 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks.
It's announced.
And
One in April. I think you need to scroll down, bro.
Yeah, because he won last month.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's just gone straight back into camp then. Crazy motherfucker.
When that's it there. April 24. No, I don't know if it's locked in, but it's announced, but I don't know if it's locked.
All right. Which is interesting because they usually announce it when they've locked in a
because I was
date
saying that
for it.
So
that car on April 24th was
the Italian fella that he beat.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's locked in then for his next one. Anyways, we'll chat about it next pod. Mm-hmm. Thanks, boys.
Yeah.
It's our first time for doing the regular pod for over a month. Had our NFL draft pod a couple of weeks ago. Check out those vids if you haven't. If you're interested in the NFL, pretty much went to plan until the Falcons took Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th pick, threw a real spanner in the works. We'll be back in maybe a fortnight's time. Talk footy, talk cricket, talk NBA. We're going to be
Deep in the final.
yeah, or conference playoffs at least, and whatever else is going on. We'll have an EPL champion.
Origin, bruh.
Origin. Yeah, that's going to be big, isn't it? Who the fuck's
It'll be-
playing?
Yeah.
Who's going to be healthy to play?
And especially for New South Wales, I think that spine is really open to conversation at the moment. So how that all plays out the next few weeks is going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yep.
This is On The Esky. It's an Aussie sports podcast. Check us out on the socials. Check out our prior stuff on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Take care until then. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.